All right, and we are back. I'm Jakari Jackson filling in for Alex Jones. I'm here with David Knight. How are you doing today, David?
Doing good, Jakari.
Now, we have a new clip of Mrs. Napolitano being grilled about the Boston situation, about the Saudi national that's reportedly being deported. And guys, just let me know when you have that up and ready. But in the meantime, let's go through a few articles. David, what do you have right there?
Well, we got a lot of interesting information. They're talking about this ricin suspect. Mm-hmm. And the Washington Post put out an article earlier today painting him as a paranoid, conspiracist Elvis impersonator.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, it's just come out that the Gateway Pundit dug up some pictures of him, and he's actually a very strong Democrat activist. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they were trying to. It certainly sounded like WAPO was trying to make a profile that he was some kind of a Tea Party guy. So.
Okay, I think we have that video ready, so we'll go to that, and then we'll come back and finish your thoughts. So let's go to that video.
I'm very concerned about this person of interest that was detained at the hospital in Boston following the Marathon Madness. He is, I believe, scheduled to be deported next week. And now I understand he's been cleared of any wrongdoing in the involvement in Boston, but he is being deported due to national security concerns. And CBS says this gentleman is here on a student visa. He was at the scene along with many other people when the blast happened. As everybody's standing in shock, 3 Boston PD detectives see this guy moving quickly out of the crowd. As they're watching him, he seems to be moving very deliberately, which could be a very natural thing after a bombing. They stop him because he's covered with blood. They end up taking him to the hospital. That's straight off CBS. And we're asking average Americans to help ID and assist law enforcement in identifying who the bomber was. See something, say something. And now we have someone who is being deported due to national security concerns, and I'm assuming that he's got some sort of link to terror or he wouldn't be being deported. He was at the scene. He could possibly ID the bomber, just like we're asking every other American that was on the scene to provide your pictures, help us identify who may have been acting funny. Everybody, we're asking that was in Boston, and we've got this guy who was there. We know he was there. He was arrested, or what arrested was detained in the hospital, covered with blood. He was at the scene, and yet we're going to deport him. So we're going to remove him from the scene.
I am unaware of anyone who is being deported for national security concerns at all related to Boston. I don't know where that
I'm not saying it's related to Boston, but he is being deported.
No, like I said, again, I don't even think he was technically a person of interest or a suspect. That was a wash. And I'm unaware of any proceeding there. I will clarify that for you, but I think this is an example of why it is so important to let law enforcement do its job.
I want them to do their job, and that's why I say, wouldn't you agree with me that it's negligent for us as American administration to deport someone who was reportedly at the scene of the bombing, and we're going to deport him not to be able to question him anymore? Is that not negligence?
I'm not going to answer that question. It is so full with misstatements and misapprehensions that it's just not worthy of an answer.
Well, CBS reports the gentleman was there. We did detain him at the hospital. He was covered with blood. We've cleared him of any wrongdoing, but it has been reported he is being deported on.
There's been so much reported on this that's been wrong. I can't even begin to tell you, Congressman. We will provide you with accurate information as it becomes available.
I look forward to that. Thank you. I yield back.
We will provide you with the accurate information as it becomes available. They control reality.
Let's believe known liars. Just they have the information. That's it. Shut your pie hole. And Drudge has no credibility. Yeah. No, Winch, you have no credibility.
Exactly.
I mean, remember they used to say TSA does not grope your genitals when there was thousands of videos. Mm-hmm. They're a bunch of damn liars.
Well, you notice what she's doing. It's a CBS report that Drudge linked to.
Right.
And so she tries to discredit it by saying, oh, it's coming from Drudge. He didn't write the content. No. CBS wrote the content.
That's what the congressman kept trying to get her to understand, that CBS said this.
But look at what they did yesterday. You know, they were going to release the identity of the bomber, and then they didn't release the identity of the bomber. You know,
I thought they had him. Yeah. I thought they had him, and then we released the information about these other guys at the Boston race, and they said, no, we're going to cancel the FBI press conference.
Worry, she knows what's going on.
But she has the information. She's the authority.
She needs to go back and get married to Janet Reno, and they can sail off into the sunset and have children together that they kidnapped with CPS. Look how arrogant she is. They're scared, man. This is a confidence game. Hey, listen, you witch pig. We know what you did. Excuse me. I'm apologizing about yelling in your ear.
That's okay.
Got any hearing? Got any hearing left? I love how we just leave these vitamins over here. It's like when we're doing the shot, there's like this big pile of vitamins. All right, I'm getting out of here.
All right, you are watching the Alex Jones Show. You can be watching this on Infowars.com/listen.
The hour ends because they leave. But go ahead.
Okay, all right, we'll get to our calls.
Press conference is coming up. We'll see what their new horse shit is. Wait.
Whoa!
Delay. Network hit delay. I haven't had enough sleep.
Okay, there goes Alex Jones's bonus for the quarter. All right. Yeah, guys, tell me when we're up and ready for the calls, and we'll get to those. But for right now, can we? We are ready. Let's take a look at the. Oh no.
Well, it certainly got under her skin, and that congressman wasn't going to let her get away with it. And that was everybody needs to take a look at that because it's worth it just to see how upset she got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alex.
Does it help you concentrate like a big redneck eel? I just keep running in here and back out.
Yeah, and then we can see him when he's out. He's outside. Now can we pull up? Okay, we'll go to Danny in New York in just 1 second. But do we have that article so people can reference the Napolitano article? Okay, I guess the guys are pulling it up right now.
Now, this article, there's also something on Drudge that's breaking right now. The one of the people that was pictured and the photos that are going around on the internet has come forward and says, "I'm not the Boston Marathon bomber." And so that's a breaking article right now. You guys can get to that. That's a picture.
Yeah, they got it on the
iPad.
on Dr. McCam.
But
Alex,
of all the photos we put out, they picked that to then divert off, and we're going to find out the new Patsy here in a few hours.
yeah, oh yeah,
I'm sure we will.
You guys just get out of the seat. I'm hosting. I'm joking.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. I'm joking.
Okay, we are ready for calls, right, guys? Okay, Danny in New York, you are on the air.
Yeah, hi. How you doing, guys?
Very well, very well.
Thanks. A couple of questions. With the hats and boots that the guys in the pictures are wearing, you can get those at craft store. Like they have like some kind of thing where you can buy the hats and all the gear, and it donates toward some foundation. So I guess my question with that is, if it's if it's really an inside job, are they trying to hide in plain sight, or do you think this could be, if it has any validity to being an actual group, could they be trying to hide?
That's a great point. We should call Kraft International and ask if they were there. I'm going to go do it right now.
Okay, Alex Jones is on the case right now. And as far as the hats and the boots the gentleman was referring to, I mean, the actual logo, that skull logo, is from a comic book character, the Punisher. You can buy those T-shirts anywhere. But it is a valid point. You can buy those at different places. But Alex Jones, like you said, is on the case.
As we also showed, though, on the pictures, the SEAL teams have adopted that same Punisher logo, and you can look at the picture. It looks like there's something up on the forehead of it, kind of like it is with the SEAL Team 3, I think it is. But yeah, it's also the demeanor of the guys. And the fact that they're standing right next to each other. They both have earpieces in.
They're definitely together.
They're both on cell phones and both dressed exactly alike with the pants and the shoes. I mean, I don't necessarily think that it's just a coincidence that they went shopping together.
Right.
I mean, it is Boston.
They're besties.
I mean, they don't look like they're constituents of Barney Frank. I don't know, but...
Yeah, but that's a very good point, caller. And like I said, Alex is on the case. We'll move now to Jim in Texas.
How are you, Gary?
Doing very well.
I'm in law enforcement. I really don't want to go into where I work, but
sure.
I just want to say to folks that are out there in law enforcement, it's time to get off your asses. And what's going on right now is real. It's not fake. I think a lot of people out there are really scared, but we didn't gain our freedom by being scared. And I just want you guys to know there's a lot of people out here that do know what are going on, and we're aware, and we listen daily. So,
okay, now let me ask you this, Jim. You say you want people to get off the fence. What would you recommend to an officer, who maybe he sees things going on, but he's afraid to, talk about it or share the information?
Well, I just think that people need to understand that there are such things as lawful orders and unlawful orders, and we still live under the Constitution of the United States. I just don't understand how we can have people that take an oath to defend the Constitution in our country and go every day about trying to tear it apart. I don't understand this,
Absolutely.
And nobody's waking up. It's, you take an oath for a reason. You become you know, you do your job. I've been doing this 21 years combined, and it's pretty sad. It's sad for me to see people that are out there that just basically understand what's going on. They're quiet because they're scared, and it's understandable. But if you're going to be scared, you're going to lose your rights, and that's just what it comes down to. So I just want to thank you guys. I listen to you daily. I respect what you do. You're the real deal. I don't care what anyone thinks out there. Go back and do the research. If you don't believe it, Google it, look it up yourself. There's plenty of places to find it. If you want to know, you'll find it.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for making that point. You know, it's coming up to just about 2 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, and Jakari and I went to this gun rally, anti-gun rally.
Moms Demand Action.
Yeah, in Austin, and they had the Austin police chief there, and I was surprised. Now, this is a guy who went immediately after that meeting. He went up to Washington, and he was meeting with Joe Biden and a lot of other police chiefs who are trying to take away gun rights. And so he's very much hooked into that gun control crowd. And I was surprised to see him actually take on very strongly constitutional sheriffs. And what he was putting forth was essentially not a division of power that we have in the Constitution, not rights that are reserved to states and rights that are reserved to sheriffs as we see in the Constitution. But what he was trying to put forth was a very rigid hierarchy with the federal government at the top and the Supreme Court at the very top of that, basically saying, well, if the Supreme Court says that the Second Amendment doesn't have any meaning, then you better do what it says. Because
you're going to enforce the laws as they are passed, no matter how unconstitutional they may be.
That's right. What he was saying is, you know, that the legislature passes the laws, the Supreme Court decides if they're constitutional, and then the executive branch, which you and law enforcement are part of, you execute that. That's not true. You have a division of power between even those three federal branches, and there's a division of power between the federal government and the states and between those two entities and the people. And he was trying to criticize sheriffs who are elected officials, and these police chiefs are not elected officials. So those battle lines are being drawn. And that's something that's going to be coming down the pike, because this is somebody that's very hooked in to the Democrat hierarchy that's coming after gun control. They are going to get aggressive in terms of criticizing sheriffs, and we're going to be there defending them. Right,
and it's like a whole clique here in Austin. It's the police chief and the mayor and the councilman. It's like the whole clique in the heart of Texas, I guess you would say, because I see so many comments and people are like, well, thank God I live in Texas, where we have common sense. Like, these people trying to take away your gun, just like the people in New York, people in California.
They just banned plastic bags here in Austin.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like Bloomberg wannabes. I mean,
yeah. I say, screw your bag ban. You know, I make those people so mad. Like, we can't get plastic bags. We'll go to our next caller in just 1 second. But we can't get plastic bags here in the city of Austin anymore. So what I do is I get my grocery cart, and I go to the checkout line with all my stuff, and then like, sir, do you want to purchase a bag? I say, no, put everything back in the cart. And then like, what? And then I wheel it outside, and I have this big bin in my trunk that I put all my stuff in. So that's how you defeat the bag. Because you can still get bags. You just have to pay for them now. I mean, you can go buy as many plastic bags as you want. They just want you to pay for them. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next call. We have Tom in Missouri.
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hey, sir. Hey, listen, I'm a first-time caller, member of Prison Planet,
thank you, sir.
long-time listener. I'm retired military. Kudos to Alex, but the crew doesn't get enough compliments. You guys are doing a fantastic
Especially
job.
the guys behind the camera. The radio guys have been working some serious hours just this past week.
Man, I could only imagine the things you guys go through to get this out. But anyway, based on what the request was of calling in about what you think's going on, the bombing, I think that it's just a diversion. I do think it's a false flag, and I believe that they have many, many more events planned.
Oh, you saw Feinstein. Ooh, these events are going to continue.
Oh, yeah.
We have that clip somewhere. It's somewhere, but don't worry about getting it right now. Go ahead, sir.
It wouldn't surprise me if they had something to do with this factory exploding in Texas and the ricin and probably, 100 other things that they got already set up that they can put in effect.
Yeah, and speaking of the rioting, sir, not to cut you off, but we'd had that interview where Alex did the interview with John McAfee back in January, and McAfee said he had, tips that they were making a good amount of rioting. Here's Alex.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm like Salacious Crumb sitting on your shoulder here. I'm glad you mentioned that because An Elvis impersonator, Democratic Party guy, that's a cutout. That's just like some cover. Oh, this guy, the Elvis impersonator sent the riots in. I mean, give me a break, man. Give me a break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you can find that that interview with John McAfee. I believe it has been reposted, but if you are a Prison Planet member, you can also find it. I believe it was January 4th of this year. We're going to have to move quick, Tom. Thank you for your call. We'll move now to Dylan in Utah. Hello, Dylan.
Dylan.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, hey, just want to say, hey, thanks for everything you guys are doing. I don't know if you guys had already covered it, but Yahoo is headlining President Obama's response to the defeated gun bill.
Yeah, I printed out some articles, but go ahead. I'll see if I can find it.
I just wanted to say that it is a small victory. I know it's not over, but people need to know that Infowars is making a difference. There's a lot of people out there that say that it doesn't really do much of anything to talk about it, but it's clearly getting through. He does make a really silly point saying that 90% of Americans supported that legislation.
Yes. Where did they get these numbers from? Because they say the same thing when we go to these anti-gun rallies. Most Americans, and they'll say, you know, usually they'll lowball. They won't say 90% like Obama does, but they'll say like 60+% of Americans favor these new gun restrictions. And to back up his point, I have this article from Politico, Gun Control, President Obama's biggest loss. And I want everybody to know that this is going to be an ongoing fight. It's not just we beat him this time, because he even admits he wants to keep going after it. Here's a quote from Obama. Right. Background checks will happen. He added minutes after the vote. This outcome is a delay, not a defeat. And that's the same thing for us. It's just they're delaying their next move. We have to keep going after these people. So just enjoy it for the time.
We need to get off of the defense, and we need to start playing offense.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237, and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals.
All right, we're coming back, and we were just talking to Dylan in Utah, and he was telling us that he believed that the press and the coverage has really made a difference on the Second Amendment fight. I believe it did too. And what we need to look at is, though, we're still got a fight going on with CISPA, and that's going on right now. And I tell you, folks, Republican House voted on that by a large margin, but we can still defeat this thing. And it is something that if they're going to be able to violate your Fourth Amendment rights in the virtual sphere, they're going to do it in the physical sphere as well. We've already seen it at the airport when we know that the whole purpose of this false flag attack is to get TSA out of the airports and onto the streets. So we need to start fighting this CISPA thing right now. So all of you guys who are fighting for the gun rights and just, one, don't rest on your laurels, get active right now and stop these assaults on the Fourth Amendment, which will eventually be on the First Amendment as well. And it's real important that we keep our free speech and our privacy out there.
Exactly. Now, I want all of our viewers to know we only have about 5 minutes left in this segment because at 3 o'clock Central, we will be switching to our other phone lines. So I do apologize. I'm sure we won't get to everybody in our current call list, but you can call right now, 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539, and we will be switching to that phone number at 3 o'clock Central Time. So we're going to try to go very quickly. Dylan, you are on the air.
Yeah, I'm just going to make it short and then get off the line to free up the line here. But also I wanted to let everybody know that, you got to understand that Alex Jones doesn't just pull all this stuff from his rear end. I mean, he gives you the tools. He gives you all the evidence you need. A lot of these other media sources, they don't do that. They don't give you the sources. So before you start arguing that, Alex is a shill, he's a this and that, he's a misinformation, agent. He provides everything there. You just need to look into it. And I just wanted to say I appreciate and love you guys.
All right, thank you, Dylan. We're going to have to jump quick. Zach in Kentucky.
My question is, you guys, is with the Boston Marathon attack, what do you guys see happening for other sporting events or other large population events coming up? All across the country.
Well, at the Super Bowl, they're already doing TSA checks. I'm pretty sure that's going to expand out. I went to my niece's graduation a couple years ago, and it wasn't TSA, but they were checking people's bags, women's purses, people's backpacks, just to get in a graduation. And then you also had to have a ticket. Back when I graduated, you just walked in the building. Now you have to have a ticket, and you get your bag searched. David Knight. Well,
they already mentioned that they're going to start cracking down on all sporting events. That's going to be
that was on SportsCenter the other day. The guys were talking about Janet Napolitano says that we need to have more security at these events. Go ahead, David.
Well, they went to the sporting events first, if you recall. I mean, it's at the football games that you'd see TSA coming out, and Alex has talked about that many times about how they would do that. And of course, we saw in The Dark Knight, they have the very striking visual of the football stadium that's being exploded and that sort of thing. So they've been coming at the sports events first priority, and now we see this at a sporting event. So they're going to roll it out intensely, and then they will. I think that's their next stage, and then they're going to go from there to the roads, to the shopping centers, that sort of thing. But they'll probably have to have another event before they get it to that point. Maybe.
All right, thank you for your call, Zach. We have to move quick to Dale in Montana.
Yeah, hi. I was calling about the guy you have a picture of that's carrying the radiation detector.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he went on Wolf Blitzer, and his name is Dr. David King. If you go to, let's see here, the Situation Room for yesterday, about 6:35 Eastern Time, he was on there with him, and he claims that he left the race before the explosion.
Situation, can repeat how we can find that again. Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer.
Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, and type in Dr. David King.
Okay. Well, we just had a caller just before we went to the top of the hour telling us that the guy holding the device, I guess, was a radiation detector, and that his name was Dr. David King. He's on the Wolf Blitzer Situation Room yesterday. I just looked that up. I haven't seen the video yet, but the subtitle to it says that he was a surgeon and that he'd finished running the Boston Marathon. Maybe that's not the picture I'm thinking of. So we'll have to still take a look at that, but we don't have anything conclusive on that yet. But we're going to be having a press conference coming up at 4 p.m., and we're going to be commenting on that. So, guys, stick around.
Okay, and we are ready with that video, so let's take a look at that right now.
We can keep them off the streets. We should keep them off the streets. In the 1920s, organized crime was committing murders with machine guns. We've seen them in the movies. Valentine's Day Massacre. So Congress dramatically limited the sale and transfer of machine guns a long time ago. As a result, machine guns basically disappeared from the streets.
No, it didn't.
They're in movies, but not private citizens had them. We can and should make the same common sense approach to safeguard Americans from modern weapons of war, assault weapons. That's why I will vote for Dianne Feinstein's assault weapons ban, because we must strike a better balance between the right to defend ourselves and the right of every child in America to grow up safe from gun violence. I'll vote for the ban because maintaining a law and order is more important than satisfying conspiracy theories who believe in black helicopters and false flags.
We're going to find that black helicopter clip.
And I'll vote for the ban because saving the lives of police officers, young and old, and innocent civilians, young and old, is more important than preventing imagined tyranny.
Imagined tyranny.
So high-capacity magazines, clips, that's what I call them.
That's because you don't know what you're talking about.
The ban on large ammunition magazines is similar. These large clips are designed to kill. Not to kill a deer or a duck or any other game, large or small. They're designed to kill humans, living, breathing human beings.
Okay, guys.
Where do you start?
Yeah, hold that thought, David Knight. Just give some directions to the guys out there. I know I'm pulling to Alex here. Can you guys go into the show, the nightly news for last week? It was probably Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday. And there's a clip called Black Helicopter Crowd. It's me talking about Joe Biden and how he says, you know, the black helicopter crowd. There are no black helicopters. And David Knight, you know, right here did a very long, in-depth report about black helicopters. Mine's only about 2 or 3 minutes, so if we can find that. But David Knight, you seem like you have something to say about that.
Man, I don't know. There's so much garbage that came out of there. I mean, you know, even going back to the term assault rifle. Okay, you know, that's a vague, undefined term. But and his confusion of clips and that sort of thing, and the fact that clips are designed to kill. You know, I mean,
well, aren't bullets designed to take down the target?
That's right. But let's start with the very first thing he said, you know, that they got rid of machine guns because of a law that they passed. No, the reason people were shooting each other on the streets in the 1920s was because of alcohol prohibition.
They don't want to talk about that.
80% of the gun violence, according to the Chicago chief of police, is because of drug gangs shooting it out with each other, just like Al Capone did. And the reason you got people that, you know, they can do all the bans that they want to on machine guns, but that didn't stop Al Capone. He didn't care that it banned alcohol. No. He didn't care if they're going to ban machine guns. And, you know, Pretty Boy Floyd and these guys are going to rob banks with machine guns or whatever. But, you know, the bottom line is it was prohibition that was causing the crime there, and it's prohibition that is responsible for things being shot up on the street. And government will always make another mistake before they correct the original problem. And that's what we see here with this attempt to try to destroy the Second Amendment. And it is not an imagined tyranny. The Second Amendment in our Constitution was written because our founders had experienced a tyranny. And they wrote the Constitution, put safeguards in there to keep that from happening again. And and that's why we have it there. They had come for the guns at Lexington and Concord, and that started the American Revolution. They did it here in Texas. That started the Texas Revolution. You don't take away people's rights to protect themselves and to exercise a check on the power of government, and that's a peaceful check. As long as the citizens have weapons and the government knows that, it's like two countries that are well armed and in a strong position, and one's not going to initiate a war against the other one. It's that kind of a check. It's really a better chance for peace than if you're unilaterally disarmed.
Yeah, like I said, I believe it was on the nightly news a couple nights ago. If we use the same logic and we say we don't want the threat of nuclear war, let's just declare the U.S. a nuke-free zone.
Right. Absolutely.
We don't have anything to shoot back at you, North Korea. So yeah, just they'll leave us alone now. Let's go to our calls. Jordan in California. Hello, Jordan.
My cousin just called me less than an hour ago. There has been a bomb threat at Cal State Los Angeles.
Cal State Los Angeles. Can we get on that, guys, please?
They're evacuating the school. They've never done this in my 4 years there. It's never been this big. My cousin called me to tell me that they're closing down the school because of a bomb threat.
Okay, you say you attend the school?
I attend the school, yes, but I don't go till later tonight. My cousin called me to let me know she was there, that they're evacuating people, and it's because of a bomb threat. And the class has been canceled for today.
Okay, do you know anything about the number of bombs or suspects or anything like that?
No, again, like this has barely been happening within an hour. Like there's no news reports on this whatsoever. This is all very like live happening right now. So I have no information except just to get it out there.
Okay, all right, sir. We'll definitely look into that. Thank you for your call. We'll move on.
No problem, guys.
Thank you. We'll move on to
Warrior for life.
All right.
Thank you.
Info Warrior for life. I like that right there. All right, guys, just let me know if you find any information on that. We'll move on to Dustin in Tennessee.
First of all, I want to say I appreciate it and for all the info that you provide. I have quite a few points that I want to spit out as quick as possible. First, I was right there with y'all. As soon as I found out about the Boston thing, I jumped on the HLN, started posting links to y'all's webpage. Of course, they immediately started bringing them down. And as soon as I brought it up for bringing them down, well, then they stopped bringing them down, of course, because then they know, someone sees that these are being brought down, so they're gonna start having attention towards that. Well, separate from all of that, a couple of years ago, y'all probably remember this. They had a couple of terrorists. I put quotes around that. There was terrorists that had drone planes that they planned on blowing up the Pentagon. Well, how did they know about all of this, but had no clue about this Boston bomb at all? How does it happen?
Well, that's always the question. How do they miss something, let's talk about 9/11, as big as 9/11? They can foil these little mom-and-pop bomb plots and, little shoot-em-ups that never happen, but something as big and grand, the Boston, it definitely injured a lot of people, but as far as taking life, the numbers weren't that significant, even though we definitely mourned the loss of the people who did die. But that is a question. Why do you think that, David Knight?
Well, the police chief has said that in a part of a press conference, he said that they had more people than they'd ever had at this event, and he said they were particularly focused on the finish line. Mm-hmm. And so the question is, why is that? Especially when they will not confirm or deny, maybe they have denied that they had a bomb drill going, but he would not confirm or deny that with Dan Bidandi initially. I don't know if they have subsequently changed their story on that. But we see all the people that were there. We see a tremendous number of people there, and we have an eyewitness report saying that they were telling people not to be afraid, that it was just a drill. The Mobile, Alabama, University of Mobile track coach was there, and he said he's run a lot of these events and never seen this kind of security, never seen bomb drills, never seen bomb-sniffing dogs at the starting and at the finishing line. The bottom line is that these people cannot keep you safe. If they weren't planting the bomb, if they weren't doing a drill to kind of cover for the bomb, as we saw happen with September 11th and so many other events as we've talked about, if they couldn't do it there, then they're not going to be able to protect you. You should not give up and surrender your liberties for people who basically are not capable of delivering on their promise of security.
Exactly. Thank you for your call, Dustin. We do have that black helicopter clip ready to dovetail what Harry Reid said and what Joe Biden has said about black helicopters. So let's go ahead and roll that footage.
Let me read some of the things they're saying about background checks. They say, quote, "We, the federal government, want to put every private firearms transaction right under the thumb of the federal government and keep all those names in a massive federal registry." Kind of scary, man. Black helicopter crowd really is upset.
I'm Jakari Jackson with an Infowars News Bulletin. Vice President Joe Biden is once again criticizing those concerned about their Second Amendment rights, calling them, quote, the black helicopter crowd. Now, Infowars has well documented how black helicopters are very much real and active in the United States.
Helicopters and the sound of gunfire.
This is a drill of January
28th,
2013.
Neighborhood.
It's a joint military training
January
exercise
24th,
involving
2013.
local police, also military, as someone shot some video of some of these choppers, military-style choppers.
If you see military helicopters flying low over Minneapolis, do not be alarmed. They are training in an urban environment. The U.S. Special Operations Command will be conducting these exercises until the beginning of September.
Now let's take a look at a different part of Biden's speech where he says not only is there no FBI database of firearm purchases, according to him, the FBI shreds purchase information immediately after processing.
And within 24 hours of being told that you can sell that gun, the FBI must destroy the information. There is no record kept.
And this reporter may have been fooled by Biden's rhetoric had it not been for these articles. Even Congress wants to know what the NSA is doing with its $2 billion Utah spy center, ATF to spy on gun owners via massive database, Big Sis Snitch program to help enforce gun control, U.S. to let spy agencies scour Americans' finances, and Utah welcomes NSA Mega Snoop Center. But you say, well, none of those were the FBI. We can still trust the FBI, right? Well, let's take a look at these articles. FBI caught lying to spy on reporters. FBI caught lying about carrier IQ spying. And FBI made up threats at peace rally, lied to Congress to justify spying activity. And just in case you think Biden misspoke like Mrs. Clinton when she misspoke about having to dodge sniper fire, let's take a look at these clips of Biden saying he did not vote for war.
They talk about this great recession if it fell out of the sky, like, oh my goodness, where did it come from? It came from this man voting to put 2 wars in a credit card, to at the same time put a prescription drug benefit in the credit card, a $1 trillion tax cut for very wealthy. I was there. I voted against them. I said, no, we can't afford that. I was there. I voted against them. I said, no, we can't afford.
All right, that's enough, guys. And if that didn't convince you, let's all right, so there you go, the black helicopters. That was just a short piece. David, you made that piece. How many examples were there?
Oh, there was 5 or 6. And they were, at the time we did it, the reason we did that special report was because they were hitting like every couple of days. Mm-hmm. They were doing it through a stretch there. And one of the things that was striking about that was they kept telling people, well, we have to train in exactly the scenario, as close to the scenario that we're going to execute as possible. So if we're going to attack in a naval target, we practice on the water. If we're going to go in the mountains, we practice in the mountains. And so we're practicing for urban warfare. Mm-hmm. But they're doing a joint warfare drill with the police. Yeah. And so you got to say, well, so are the Iranian police going to join in with them when they attack Iran?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think that was what they were practicing for. I think they were practicing not only for an urban warfare, but they were practicing to go into an American city and work with the American police. That's the scenario they've been training on, and that's what I think they're expecting to do.
And it has happened here, house to house in Hurricane Katrina, but we'll move back to our calls. Mike in California.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Very well.
I just want to commend you guys for your hard work, and it's really just amazing how we've got these guys red-handed now. And, just hope that America's eyes are opened up real soon with all that's breaking. But I just wanted to call and make one point. And it just seems to me that the rights of all Americans are being attacked, and the liberties of our forefathers fought for are really being taken away from us before our eyes. But when you really look at it closely, it seems like they're really attacking one particular group, and that is Christians. And I'm just wondering if you guys could talk about that a little bit, and, just what you foresee happening to Christians in the near future, just based on some of the laws that they've started talking about.
Well, yeah, we see the religious persecution, people saying that, we've seen the different documents saying that even evangelical Christians are going to be your new threat. They're taking Christian practices out of school. And people say, well, I don't want, my child having to learn about XYZ religion. That's fine if you don't want any religion in schools. But they're saying, let's look at, the Muslim religion. Let's look at this religion. Let's look at that religion, but no Christian religion. And actually, that's a special report I've been trying to little technical difficulty there. That's a report I've been trying to complete for the past couple of weeks, but, just a lot of inundated news with gun stuff and the bomb threats. But David Knight, what do you think about that?
Well, he was just talking about Christians, and it just broke, I think it was just last week, yet another one of these incidents. We had one, of course, the MIAC report going all the way back to 2009 that Infowars broke. You had a fusion center that was talking about Christians essentially being the #1 targets, along with... So we also had a West Point think tank do that a couple of months ago. And then just last week, we had a Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rich. And he sent out an email, a fairly lengthy email to his subordinates, and it was basically going down the talking points of the Southern Poverty Law Center. And in that, he identified the American Family Association and the Family Research Council, along with the Westboro Baptists, who is a very hateful group that always shows up at military funerals yelling and screaming at the soldiers because of homosexuality. That's the one thing they're fixated on. And they do... come forth as that's one place I would agree with the Southern Poverty Law Center on. That group comes across as a genuine hateful group. They don't exhibit the love of Christ or the grace of Christ to anybody that I've seen. But to put the AFA and the Family Research Council into the same category, and he told people that they don't share Army values. And you need to be aware of these groups. And this is something that he's putting out there where he's condemning groups like the Ku Klux Klan and so forth and so on. So when he takes some mainstream Christian organizations like the American Family Association and the Family Research Council, throws them in that mix, it is just clearly a case of trying to demonize these people.
All right, thank you for your call, Mike. We just confirmed that breaking news story about Cal State. Is that correct, guys? Can we put that article back up? You guys are getting it right there. Okay, just
a
one
bomb
second.
scare there?
Yeah, a bomb scare at Cal State. There it is, Los Angeles Times. Cal State, L.A. evacuated, campus closed after bomb threat. So I do believe this is pretty recent news. I guess they don't have any suspects or definitive explosive devices as of yet, but we will definitely keep you up to date the best we can on that subject. We'll move on to Jeff in Detroit. And Jeff, I have this article here. It talks about the ACLU. The Detroit police are dumping homeless people outside of the city. I'll read you the article. The Detroit police practice of essentially kidnapping homeless people and abandoning them miles away from the neighborhoods they know, with no means for a safe return is humane, callous, and illegal, said Sarah Mehta, ACLU of Michigan staff attorney. Have you heard anything about them abducting homeless people and just dropping them outside the city? They did that in the first Rambo movie. They picked him up and they dropped him outside the city, and he came back and tore some stuff up. But what do you think about that, Jeff?
I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it's pretty par for the course. If you remember during the Super Bowl, when the Detroit hosted the Super Bowl, what they did was they painted like an old Western scene out of a movie set from Hollywood. They painted fronts of buildings to make them look like they weren't dilapidated and uninhabited. So people that were driving into the Super Bowl from the city thought the city looked nice when it was just basically fronts on the buildings. But Detroit police are a non-issue. They're cut back so far that you have to really look to find one down there, especially at nighttime. They don't even want to come out, and the street lights don't come on. But I could talk about that for a long time. I think Chris Hedges said it best when he said Detroit is our first sacrifice city of the century, that the corporations have come in, sucked the resources, and left the people to live in squalor, basically. One of my points was Alex always mentions multidimensional chess, and I think what happened yesterday was we checkmated them with a pawn. They weren't expecting that to happen, and what we're watching now is vampires in the light or a psychopath that's been exposed. They're not used to calling audibles when they run their ops like this, and we're watching them scramble, and they have not had practice with this. So I think what most people need to do is Alex mentioned earlier that the search engines are now searching false flags. This is a narrative. You guys are controlling the narrative. I think when their family members come up to them or friends and say, "Hey, have you heard about this Boston thing?" I think people need to step up at this point because it's wide open and say, "Yeah, have you looked up false flag? This is the perfect time to inject this in there because the information is readily out there and it's in people's mind, and this is the time for this to happen."
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this press conference today at 4 o'clock, and we're going to stick around and cover that, and we're going to have some analysis after that. But it definitely, as you said, it put them on essentially calling audibles.
Yeah.
They had to improvise at the last minute here because I think it kind of definitely put a hitch in their plans.
Definitely. All right, Jeff, thank you for your call. We gotta move quick to another call. We have a call from Canada, V in Canada.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Very well.
First, I want to salute you and Mr. Jones for the job that you're doing. It's outstanding. I think it's going to be remembered. I know that we are focusing right now on a false flag event that happened in Boston and everybody wants to talk about, but I want to bring 2 points very quickly, maybe looking a little bit further to the future. So I think that from all of the situations that were occurring lately, it's very clear that at some point there will be additional actions from the government side, and at some point again they will move towards something more drastic. Now, the idea that I'm trying to present is that we need leadership in sense of people, in sense of politicians, and maybe even military. I don't know, but the truth is that no movement can sustain itself without leadership, and that's why the government will be focusing on the leaders and try to discredit them, maybe even remove them. And I think we need to start looking for leaders on the political side, on the community side, and everywhere else to help us come together when the situation really becomes intolerable.
Exactly. That's why you need to support your local politicians, your national politicians who are on your side. Support, regardless if you agree with him on everything, support guys like Rand Paul and support Ted Cruz on gun bills and things such as that. I'm not exactly sure, how your political climate is there in Canada, but I definitely agree with that statement.
And I would say that we need to not be so exclusively focused on the top. We need to also get active at the local level. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that people who are socialists have been very effective at doing is they've been much more effective at organizing at the local level. And we don't want to make the same mistake that the socialists, the communitarians make of trying to, try to fix everything at the top level. But they do activate at the lower level. They think nationally or globally, and then they activate at the local level.
Right.
We need to be focused on individuals, and we need to start. A lot of the resistance that we're seeing is coming from the state level. Mm-hmm. And so we need to support people like those people here in Texas who are fighting back against the NDAA, who are fighting back against the TSA, trying to put restrictions on those. So people need to look and see what's going on in their area and even try to support those areas outside of their state when there's something happening at a state level. We really do need to try to get back to a division of power between the federals and the state. And we need to also keep in mind juries. And we need to understand that that's a very effective thing that we have. And we can always bring that to bear. We need to educate each other about jury nullification.
All right. Thank you for your call, V. We'll move on to Donald in Texas.
Yes, sir. I just have one question about Boston.
Sure.
If we had all these policemen there, hundreds of them, and soldiers there, how many of them were hit by shrapnel when these things went off?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Or were they warned to get out of the way?
I don't know, because we've heard the reports, Rob Dewitt's given the story about his brother-in-law was in the Army, I believe. He's a jogger in the Army, and he was pulled out of the race, his brother-in-law, before the bombs went off. So as far as I know, I'm not saying there haven't been, but I've not heard any stories of police or military being hit by the shrapnel. Have you, David?
Well, it's hard to say because they really haven't talked very much about any of the victims. It took them a very long time before they talked about who was hit. They had an 8-year-old. They released that right away, and then they waited a while, and they said there was a lady who was killed. And then last I heard, the third person who was killed was an Asian
young lady.
Which I don't know. Yeah, but I haven't heard it. There was a lot of people that were injured. I don't know, but that's a very good point, caller, that you made. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
You think it's worth looking into?
Oh, I think it's definitely worth looking into, but just like David said, they haven't been talking about the people who've been injured. They talked about the people who lost their lives, but not the people who've been injured.
Maybe they were told to move on down the street and get the hell out of the way. Heck out of the way.
Well, that'd be a good thing for anybody in the city of Boston to look into. Just ask the police.
We have to also remember that even in false flags, not everybody is clued in on it. So there could very well be, it would not mean that this was not a false flag if there were officers or security personnel that were injured, because you really only have to have a couple of people who are basically inside on this thing and have the uniforms for something to work. You know, it's that kind of compartmentalization. So
Right. All right, and thank you for your call, and that's a good point. Anybody in the city of Boston, talk to your local police. Were they injured? Were they not injured? Joseph in North Carolina.
Hey, how are you?
Very well, sir.
I'd like to say before I start that you guys are really great, and I really enjoy watching you. I've grown to appreciate you. I like Alex. Alex is sort of Rush Limbaugh with temper, but you guys are good also, and the more I watch you, the better I think you are.
Thank you.
So just with that little fan letter, I'll tell you that. The one thing I wanted to say is that what Obama or what the globalists or whatever you want to call them were trying to do here was kind of a triple bank shot. They were trying to stage a terrorist incident that basically, as you said, would get TSA on the street and out of the airport, make everybody afraid there's going to be another one. And then they were hoping to basically arrest a patsy who they then could blame the whole thing on reloaders, people who have gunpowder. And they were hoping that maybe they even could win the jackpot and arrest somebody who was an NRA member or at least a gun owner.
Right.
So that actually this incident was timed and was intended to occur in conjunction with the consideration of the gun bill in Washington this week.
Exactly. I agree with that 100% because when I've been going to the gun stores, like we did that bullet report for Alex a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking to myself, the next thing they're going to try to outlaw is making your own ammunition and the supplies that are used therein.
Absolutely. They were coming after registration, though, and I think that's been it. I mean, certainly this Fast and Furious was all about moving weapons across borders, and to try to stop weapons moving across borders, the solution to that, of course, was the UN Arms Trade Treaty. Those things have been in the works for a very long time, for many years. And I think all of this was pulled together. They were coming at registration, particularly on multiple fronts, and we certainly beat them back on that one yesterday.
All right, and thank you for your call, Joseph. The number to call in is 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539. And you can watch on Infowars.com/listen or on PrisonPlanet.tv. We'll move on now to Chris in Michigan.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
How's it going? Yeah, today there was actually a bomb scare in Detroit.
Wow. Where?
I don't know if you guys heard about that yet.
No.
Yeah, they evacuated the street. My girlfriend actually lives down there. She had a bunch of pictures. They closed down the streets. And yesterday, the Detroit Free Press online posted an illustrated picture on how to build a pipe bomb, or not a pipe bomb, the pressure cooker bomb.
Now, before we get to the pressure cooker, you said that the bomb scare was today or yesterday?
The bomb scare was today.
Is it still ongoing?
Was Say what?
Is the bomb scare still ongoing?
No, they diffused it, and but there was another bomb scare. I posted it on Facebook. Someone else was saying there was a bomb scare in Washington, and then the one caller said there was one in LA, and it just seems like
that's a lot going on.
There's going to be a lot of copycat stuff like that. There always is. I remember back when I was in high school, and that was a long time ago. We used to have bomb scares regularly. Of course, I think it was kids calling up to try to get out of exams. But now, especially when you got something.
This was an actual bomb that they defused.
Oh, they did find a bomb. Okay,
so,
all right.
So I mean, if people are thinking the Boston one's an inside job or whatever, a false flag, who's to say that they're not trying to, be the copycats and just completely scare all of us, into believing that anything you go to.
Yeah, we'll look into those other scares, but you're talking about they had a article on how to build a bomb?
Yeah, and how to build the pressure cooker bomb. It was a pretty illustrated graphic on how to make one, and then lo and behold, the next day, they apologized for it, but if people die because now everyone knows how to make one, they can't apologize for people dying, that you can't just say sorry and it's all good.
Why would you publish something like that? I just don't understand that.
There's an interesting article on Infowars today, and it was by John Rappaport. and he's talking about, actually he linked to a YouTube video, a guy did an analysis, and he said, if they were building this pressure cooker bomb the way they were showing it on CNN with nails inside and that sort of thing, you would expect it to be concentric and you would expect it to be riddled with holes. The exploded pressure cooker that they found was not. It was basically just blown out in one direction. The only hole in it was a machined hole. And he was saying it looked to him like it was a shaped charge, which would indicate that it wasn't necessarily an amateur that was doing something like this, but somebody who was more sophisticated. So there's a lot of back and forth that's going to be going on about this. And certainly we believe that, like I said, it certainly was a motivation for the government to be a part of a false flag operation, because we know how they use these things. The thing that really kicked it, though, for us was not just that they had motive and something to gain from it, but that they also had a bomb drill that was going on simultaneously. I think that's a key thing in it. These other things may or may not be, but we certainly expect the government to do more and bigger things, because when they cannot shape the narrative with one event, they will stage another one.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in the past.
Exactly. And they're confident. They're confident that if they don't get their way, if Napolitano has her budget slashed, if Feinstein can't get the guns off the streets, there'll be more.
And let me say this, and that's another reason why it's important for people to understand what a false flag is. So many people do not understand the MO of the government and how they shape the narrative, how they manipulate the public. A false flag has a very long history to it, and it's been used recently in a lot of different things. But we've documented that in our very first magazine, going back for decades, documents that have now been declassified. And there are other aspects that are more recent, going back to September 11th and other attacks like that. In the last 10 years, has been so many times they've used that, where they have a drill at exactly the same time, exactly the same place, exactly the same threat level, happens simultaneously. That just isn't credible. And people need to understand what their MO is. And if we can understand that, we can shut down some of these horrific events that they're going to pull off if people are ignorant about it. So that's why it's so important to get that term out there. It's why it's so great that that's trending high now after Dan Bidandi at the press conference. He really pushed that. It's a great job, Dan.
Great job, Dan. Thank you for your call, Chris.
You can save lives.
We'll move on to CJ in Michigan.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this Waco thing, this turns out to be some kind of event. What I'm predicting, everyone likes predictions, is if it is, that would tell you that they're planning a bunch of events, because they would never do something so close to another event, because then that would take out the mileage that they're going to get from the Boston Marathon. I predicted this a couple of years ago, that you always heard about Iran's going to have these sleeper cells, and they're going to be activated. So, if they want to have martial law, it's a big event like the World Trade Center, I'm scared, but it's New York. I don't live in New York. But once they start hitting the soft targets here, there, small town America, then Mr. and Miss America, we have to implement martial law, because no one's safe anywhere.
That's right.
That's pretty much what we're seeing already. We've shown the pictures in Boston of the guys checking papers, and people just willingly accept that because of the situation. And, I mean, it's not just there. Like we said, it's been many other places. We saw them at a checkpoint at LAX or outside LAX. They were checking people. And if these things happen more frequent, especially if they hit hometown America, like you said, people are just going to roll over.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's their agenda is advanced by fear and paranoia. That's what they accuse us of. But as you documented in that report, that was really good that you put in there, how many times have we seen Biden and Obama go back on their word? Obama wasn't going to sign the NDAA, and then he did. They weren't going to ban guns, and then they did. I mean, just over and over and over again, even in the debate where he's accusing the other guy of
They're pointing at each other.
Yeah, and actually the other guy did sign. It was a valid criticism, but he was saying that he wasn't a part of it, when in actuality he was. And people just have to go back and look at the records. But they think we're so stupid that we won't go back and look at their lies on YouTube, that we won't go back and look at their voting record. And, you showed it. And that's the thing. We have to pull those things up, and we have to show each other what they're doing and just expose their lies.
All right, thank you for your call. We'll move on to Bruce in Canada.
Oh, hey, guys. How you doing?
Very well, very well.
Hey, great. I called a couple days ago. I didn't mean to sound sarcastic. I think you guys are doing an awesome job. I mean that sincerely. I'm sorry I didn't mean sarcastic last time.
Oh, no, that's fine.
But I hear you guys hitting the acceleration pedal, and I mean, I want to just give you a couple catalysts, which, you know what catalysts are? They're just to speed up a reaction of the awakening here.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you got this whole magazine thing happening. Hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So a simple catalyst would be, like, I mean, there's thousands of listeners that would sell subscriptions to your magazine.
Sorry, Bruce, you're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Let me switch phones, I guess, okay?
All right, we'll hold on for 1 second. Hopefully he can get his connection established.
Music there. And...
That sound better?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Oh, okay. So did you hear what I was saying about the magazine? I mean, you got thousands of people that would just sell those things to, like, a dentist's office, a mechanic's office, and everything like that in their community. Just, just make it simple for them, right? Mm-hmm. And here's what I do when I have a couple extra Obama deceptions, hard copies of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll wrap them in, like, the Infowars magazine thing that comes with the order.
I'm sorry, Bruce. We do appreciate your call. We just have a bad phone line.
The audio on it.
I'm sorry. Maybe call back again and maybe try a different phone. Thank you for your call, though. We'll move on to Kay in New Jersey.
Hey, Jakari and David, called in yesterday. Just wanted to reiterate how disgusted I am with the incompetence. We can clearly see how Jenna Napolitano is having some trouble keeping up with the initial story during that conference. And I can't
Guys, get
believe
that queued back up. We're going to roll out in a second. Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, she actually had the nerve to say that it's unreasonable for them to not do what they did, which was deport that one suspect when, let's just say this was a regular domestic issue, the police would question and have everybody at the scene in for questioning. Nobody would be set free until the investigation was concluded. So to see her with a more large-scale incident say that it's perfectly reasonable to let somebody go like that is just beyond me. And
well, that's nothing new. I mean, we've seen them destroy evidence and cover up a crime scene before at Oklahoma City, at September, the World Trade Center. Mm-hmm. They don't really follow on these big events like this that have all the hallmarks of a false flag that we believe are false flags. They don't follow the typical rules of investigation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just like the Oklahoma City building, to cover that up, they just tore the building down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Remove the evidence at 9/11 as well.
Did you have another point, Kay?
Of the World Trade Center started to get shipped to foreign landfills, but what I really trying to say is the fact that she thinks that we don't or Congress doesn't understand the procedures of these types of things, that she can just say anything to us. The same way Alex keeps saying that they had all the SEALs out there in uniform, like we can't see that. Like they've done this so many times before, but we're not getting any dumber. We're just figuring it out. So they can't afford to just lie to us like this anymore. That's what I'm trying to say.
We got that clip queued up, and we're going to take a look at it, but you all need to go to YouTube so that you can actually see that, because it's just the arrogance of her. The way she looks at this congressman.
I'll tell you, we'll get around to informing you, sir, when we come up with a story that we think that you can comprehend.
It's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you question me? It was just amazing, the arrogance, but also you could see the anger and the frustration.
Mm-hmm. And just rolling her eyes. I thought her hair was about to spin around backwards.
You got to love that. It's kind of like that press conference that Obama and Biden had yesterday after they lost that gun control bill. The Germans call that Schadenfreude.
It was so funny to see, guys, let me know when we have that clip. It's so funny to see Biden's face. It looked like his hamster just died or something. And he's like, I try to do this for the children. And it's, yeah. Okay, thank you for your call, Kay. We're going to go now to that clip of Napolitano.
Very concerned about this person of interest that was detained at the hospital in Boston following the Marathon Madness. He is, I believe, scheduled to be deported next week. And now I understand he's been cleared of any wrongdoing in the involvement in Boston, but he is being deported due to national security concerns. And CBS says this gentleman is here on a student visa. He was at the scene along with many other people when the blast happened. As everybody's standing in shock, 3 Boston PD detectives see this guy moving quickly out of the crowd. As they're watching him, he seems to be moving very deliberately, which could be a very natural thing after a bombing. They stop him because he's covered with blood. They end up taking him to the hospital. That's straight off CBS. And we're asking average Americans to help ID and assist law enforcement in identifying who the bomber was. See something, say something. And now we have someone who is being deported due to national security concerns, and I'm assuming that he's got some sort of link to terror or he wouldn't be being deported. He was at the scene. He could possibly ID the bomber, just like we're asking every other American that was on the scene to provide your pictures, help us identify who may have been acting funny. Everybody, we're asking that was in Boston, and we've got this guy who was there. We know he was there. He was arrested, or wasn't arrested, was detained in the hospital, covered with blood. He was at the scene, and yet we're going to deport him. So we're going to remove him from the scene.
I am unaware of anyone who is being deported for national security concerns at all related to Boston. I don't know where
I'm not
that
saying it's related to Boston, but he is being deported.
No, like I said, again, I don't even think he was technically a person of interest or a suspect. That was a wash. And I'm unaware of any proceeding there. I will clarify that for you, but I think this is an example of why it is so important to let law enforcement do its job.
I want them to do their job, and that's why I say, wouldn't you agree with me that it's negligent for us as American administration to deport someone who was reportedly at the scene of the bombing, and we're going to deport him not to be able to question him anymore? Is that not negligence?
I'm not going to answer that question. It is so full with misstatements and misapprehensions that it's just not worthy of an answer.
Well, CBS reports the gentleman was there. We did detain him at the hospital. He was covered with blood. We've cleared him of any wrongdoing, but it has been reported he is being deported on.
There's been so much reported on this that's been wrong. I can't even begin to tell you, Congressman. We will provide you with accurate information as it becomes available.
I look forward to that. Thank you. I yield back.
Say it on air. And there it is. You saw Miss Napolitano right there. We will provide you, sir. Don't get your sources anywhere else. We will provide you with said information.
The press conference is coming up in 20 minutes. That's all I can say.
Alex seems very excited about this press conference, and we will be giving you live coverage on that. We'll move now to, is that Cheryl in North Carolina?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Very well.
I have to tell you, I'm a newcomer to you guys. I'm a newcomer to this new way of thinking. I'm a newcomer in a lot of ways in the last 2 or 3 months. And by nature, I'm a researcher, so when I see something, I need multiple sources to tell me, yeah, this looks pretty legit. Mm-hmm. One of the things that caught my attention this morning, saw it on Facebook of all places, was a picture of the principal from Newtown, who, and I'm sure you guys have had to have seen this thing. It's a flash picture of her with Newtown, and then Fox, I think, is the supposed that she was 1 block away from the bombing yesterday. When obviously that could not have happened if she is not with us any longer. But the conclusion I found is the picture's junk. It's something somebody has put together for whatever purpose. Mm-hmm. My reason for bringing this to your attention is whoever made this picture, I feel like they're on the good side. You know, they're one of the good guys, but they're too extreme. And when things like this come to light and then you show, hey, this is inaccurate information, this is not right, nobody has, I couldn't find any news feed on it whatsoever. And it just makes us look like
well, you got to keep in mind that, you know, some people do fabricate. I haven't seen that particular image that you're referring to. I have heard about it. I have not seen it myself, but people do these kind of disinformation things, that whether this was somebody who had the right intentions or, media hoax or whatever it was.
Sometimes that's deliberate. Sometimes that's deliberate by government operatives, but sometimes people are just aggressive.
Yes, and we got some secret Alex Jones information. I'll just talk about, like we referenced a couple days ago, people said that there was a fabricated news clip where blood and gore disappeared, and we were able to look at the footage and see that it was just a bloody rag that was picked up off the ground. It wasn't a computer glitch or anything like that. But yes, that is a very, very real concern, and there is a lot of disinformation out there. So like you said, you have to get your information from multiple sources.
Well, one of the things that we saw, which again, this explosion that happened up in Waco, there was a report that there was a drill going on at the same time. And when we looked into it, it appeared that the drill was not scheduled for yesterday, but for today. And so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And the government is not claiming that that was some kind of a terrorist event. So that doesn't necessarily fit into their narrative. Although it's right there where tomorrow is the 20th anniversary of when they burned all those people at the.
It's a nice
Waco
way to keep
compound.
people away from the Waco compound.
Yeah. So I guess there won't be any commemoration of that, but
yeah, definitely appreciate your call. We'll move on to Mike in Louisiana.
Yes, hello?
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. How you doing? First of all, I want to say that Napolitano can say yes or no. There was a very simple question to answer. Second of all, ever since the mishap at the Superdome, I'm actually from Southeast Louisiana, I decided to start taking a total of how many black helicopters I've seen daily. Yesterday, I seen a total of 8. Yes, yesterday was a total of 18, which is the largest number I've seen to date.
Is there any type of military base or anything where you are?
We do have a joint naval air station, but I mean this is ridiculously close to my house. I mean I probably could have thrown a basketball at these guys. You know, I mean this was incredible.
Do you have any
And
footage
also,
of this?
No, but I'm planning on taking some. Maybe
Yeah,
if I
tape
can.
some and put it on YouTube.
Is there an
I'm
announced?
kind of afraid that they would shoot me down if I did.
Is there an announced drill in that area?
No, there's a lot of military activity in that section, but there was nothing that was ever announced. No, there was nothing on. Usually they tell you, don't be alarmed. This is the newscast. Don't worry about the helicopters flying by. There was no indication this time. Also, I was wondering if I could make one request of Alex for our old-time listener.
Okay. Sure.
Could you please do a Cobra Commander impression for me? It's been
Yeah, he's standing out there too. All right, thanks for your call, Mike.
Cobra currency. I, Cobra Commander, will protect you from the bombings. I'm not behind it. Who would say we would do that to take your freedom? Cobra.
All right, thank you, Alex. All right, and we'll move on to Matt in Oregon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
How you doing today?
Very well.
Okay. Good. Say I had a couple of things to bring up.
Hail Cobra.
One of them is that this whole scene in Boston reminds me of the movie The Thomas Crown Affair.
I've never seen that movie.
All the guys into the museum with bowler hats on, and they can't figure out who's who and what's going on to throw off any sort of well-meaning individuals.
There you go.
Exactly the same type scenario. But switching gears, the question I had is that someone had brought up on Monday that the New York Times, below the fold, had talked about an indictment of Obama, Bush, and Clinton of war crimes.
Yes,
Have you guys heard anything more
Dr.
about that?
Pachinik was talking about that yesterday on the Alex Jones radio show, and also I referenced it last night on the Infowars Nightly News. I don't know if we have that article. I believe it was taken down, but it was reposted on Prison Planet. So you can go to the archives at prisonplanet.tv or also on YouTube and look at some of the...
It was a bipartisan commission, and they produced a 600-page report. They had a 1-hour presentation video of their results, and what they did was they indicted the Bush administration, the Obama administration, even going back to the Bill Clinton administration, talking about essentially war crimes planned at the highest levels of our government.
And it has some nice quotes in there from guys like Dick Cheney and Pelosi saying, oh, yeah, we love... exaggerated or what's the term?
Extraordinary rendition?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. You can find those interviews with Dr. Steve Pachinik on the Alex Jones YouTube page. We'll move on now to Marcus in Texas. Hello, Marcus.
Hi, this is Chris in Texas.
Oh, Chris. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to say you guys are doing a tremendously awesome job. Really appreciate all you guys' hard work.
Thank you.
And kind of off subject, but have you guys heard about this armed peaceful march that's supposed to take place in Washington, D.C. on July 4th?
No, I have not. Fill us in on that.
Okay, there's a group called Prepare to Take America Back on Facebook.
Okay.
And apparently they are organizing this armed peaceful march on Washington, D.C. on July 4th. And they haven't really put out a lot of details, but they do have an event scheduled, so that may be something y'all want to check into. And just your thoughts on whether it'd be a good idea or not.
The only thing, anytime you have any type of public display of weapons, I definitely recommend having them unloaded, regardless of where you are. That'd be my first thought. David, do you have anything?
D.C. has some, probably the most restrictive gun control laws anywhere, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Now, there is a a rally tomorrow. I don't know if you've been following the news here, but Stuart Rhodes of Oath Keepers was scheduled, as they have in the past several years, to have a rally on Lexington Green to commemorate the anniversary of the British coming in to seize the guns with the Oath Keepers. And it's always been a very peaceful rally of veterans and speeches and that sort of thing. And they had their permit canceled, but I understand they're going to meet there anyway and exercise their First Amendment rights, I believe. So.
Yeah, they had their permit canceled because of, danger threats or, terrorist threats or whatever.
You can't have free speech in a police state.
Yeah, you can't have any free speech. Definitely, we'll look into that. You said prepare to take America back? Is he gone?
The Facebook group.
Yes. Okay. We'll look into that. Thank you, sir. The number to call in is 877-789. Alex, that is 877-789-2539. We're just about 10 minutes away from the press conference. So we'll finish with Tony, and then I believe is it Danny in Illinois? And then we'll show a video and come back with the press conference. So, Tony, go ahead. Tony in Pennsylvania.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Very well.
Right.
Good. We need to beat this indictment like a dead horse. In all honesty, I think this is going to be the Hail Mary that brings these guys down.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we really need to beat this indictment like a dead horse. I can't stress that enough. We need to talk about this more than anything, I would imagine.
Can you guys see if you can find that article? I know it was pulled down, but if you can find it, that would be good. Go ahead.
One of the things that Pachinik was talking about, and also I would recommend anybody that wants information about this, there is a article at the New York Times called Gitmo is Killing Me. And if you want to see what our future is going to be like under the kind of NDAA world that Lindsey Graham and John McCain and Carl Levin want to institute here, and Obama want to institute here, take a look at that, because people who will do that to someone who is not an American citizen will do that to an American citizen.
And let me give the viewers this article, David. This is the New York Times. U.S. engaged in torture after 9/11. Review concludes. Again, that is U.S. engaged in torture after 9/11. Review concludes. So that's just one of the many articles. And get that out to your friends and family. Pachinik had an article as well. I believe it was taken down. It may be on Planet Infowars, I believe so. But you're right, sir. This is definitely something that needs to be to publicize, to get your friends in on the action.
I do have one more question. What is the possibility of this even going through? Are they going to weasel their way out of this one, you think?
Well, this group doesn't have, I don't know that this group has any legal clout to do this. Basically, what they did was they conducted a very long investigation of these three administrations, and they've put their data out there. But I don't think that they're anything like a grand jury. They don't have any kind of indictment powers. I mean, they've indicted them in a somewhat symbolic
like in the public perception.
But Pachinik was saying that it was very significant in his mind that this would even go through, because to him, it appeared that people were withdrawing, important people were withdrawing their support from Obama and kind of leaving him hanging out there to dry. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, but definitely inform your friends and family of that one, sir. And our last call, Dan in Illinois.
Short for time. Maybe I'm smoking something, but I don't smoke something, but maybe I should be smoking something. We are the public. We have public servants. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to be little Hitlers, but you see, the way I see this, I don't know what everybody's getting so excited outside of us, our law enforcement, our military, our militias losing the right to own arms, because you see, they take an oath to the Constitution. Okay, so the Constitution applies to them. But this does not apply to the public. We have a Dick Act. Okay, we have our Bill of Rights, and first and foremost, we have our God-given rights. We don't need permission if they're going to take away the Second Amendment, whatever they're going to say. These are a set of rules. Our Constitution is a rule book.
Hey, Dan, can you just hold on 1 second? I just want to talk to the guys for 1 second. Can we get the clip? MSNBC host blames NRA for law enforcement inability at Boston. If we can go out to break on that one. But go ahead, Dan, finish your point.
So my point is, everybody's worried about this Constitution stuff. Yeah, I'm worried about it because people are getting blindsided. Now, the Constitution is rules and regulations for our law enforcement, our military.
That's right.
Our law enforcement and our military need to be armed. Okay, and that's who this applies to, not the people. You can't disarm the public. We are the public. They are the servants.
And if you look at Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, it clearly identifies the militia as being the core of our defense. Permanent standing armies were only to be funded, or were not to be permanent. Armies were only to be funded for 2 years at a time. But, when they talk about 90% of the people supported their legislation, well, I don't know where they got that figure. But you know what? It doesn't matter if 90% of the people got it, because as Jefferson said, a democracy is where 51% of the people take away the rights of the other 49%.
Yeah, it's two wolves and a sheep voting for what's for dinner. Yeah,
that's right. We have the Constitution. We have that rule of law there and they swear allegiance to it, and they are essentially temporary stewards who are swearing allegiance to the king of the land, and that king is a law. What they said at the colonial times, lex rex. That's Latin for the law is king, and that's what they're swearing allegiance to. And when they do anything to undermine that, they're basically not only committing, they're unfaithful stewards, and they're committing treason.
All right, thank you for your call. We have to go to break. We will be back with the press conference and then more of your calls. The number to call in is 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539. But remember, we're going to start with the press conference back on the other side. So, guys, roll to the video whenever you're ready.
Today, the gun lobbyists at the NRA got what they wanted on the floor of the United States Senate. And tonight, lobbyists from the NRA have made it harder for the FBI to find the murderer who planted the bombs here in Boston.
All right, and welcome back to the Alex Jones Radio Show, Sirius Overdrive, myself and David Knight. If you're watching on prisonplanet.tv or Infowars.com/listen, we definitely appreciate your presence. Now, we will be covering a press conference here in a few moments. Guys, just let us know when that's up and ready. But in the meantime, we can take a couple more calls. The number to call in is 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539. And before we go to the calls, David, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, today is Tax Freedom Day, so just think about that New Year's Eve party that you were at, and think about all the days that you've worked between then and now. That all goes to the government. Unless you live in New York, California, New Jersey, or Illinois, in which case you're still working for the government.
Right, okay, now we do have the press conference, so let's go to that.
Conference to begin. They've just given us, that man you just saw there, what they call a 5-minute warning.
Okay,
so
5-minute warning. Yeah, we can get him off the screen. Please, let's
Eastern.
get rid of
Here's
that.
the latest developments.
That's anything else except him.
Thank you. Blitzer. Okay.
All right. So we got about a 5-minute head start. So let's go over a couple of articles since we have time, and the callers can call in at 877-789-ALEX. I like this one from the National Review Online. Feinstein, show some guts. This is Feinstein, I believe, after the bill was struck down in the Senate. She says, I am really chagrined and concerned. If anybody cares, vote to at least prospectively ban the manufacture, the sale, the importation of military-style assault weapons, she said in remarks on the Senate floor.
That's right. Have some guts. Man up and destroy the Constitution. Right?
Pretty much is what she was.
Are you afraid of that law? I mean, that's just a piece of paper, right?
Yeah, that piece of paper that piece of paper can't hurt you. You should do what I tell you to do.
Well, speaking of the Constitution, guys, we've had a victory with the trying to destroy the Second Amendment and putting registration unconstitutional requirements on things and trying to turn what is a fundamental right into a government-granted privilege. But now is not the time to rest on your laurels. We have the CISPA bill has already been passed by the House of Representatives. It passed by a large margin, 288 to 127, and it is going before the Senate. They're moving pretty quickly on this, and this is something that is in direct conflict with the Fourth Amendment, to be secure in your privacy, in your person, in your home and house. If we're going to allow them to destroy our freedoms in the virtual world, they will destroy our freedoms in the physical world as well, just like they are doing at the airport and many other ways. And look at some of the things that were said on this. We had a Representative Rogers, who's a Republican from Michigan, and he called anybody who opposed this a teenage basement tweeter. And he was saying that all the corporations were in support of this, but there's many internet companies, and here's a list of them, that we get from the Electronic Freedom Foundation.org. That's EFF.org. They said Mozilla, Reddit, Namecheap, GandhiNet, others have come out strongly against the bill. 70 cybersecurity experts and academics sent a joint letter opposing it. There are 34 civil liberties groups that have sent a letter opposing CISPA in its current form. And listen to this incredible thing that was said by Rogers. He said, all we're talking about here is zeros and ones, hundreds of millions of times a second in patterns. It has nothing to do with content. Nothing. I mean, that is so profoundly, does that guy think that we are blithering idiots, or is he a blithering idiot? I mean, that is the most profoundly ignorant thing I've ever seen. Of course, all digital communication is a series of ones and zeros, and that's how you constitute the content. I mean, that is just mind-boggling that he would make that kind of a statement, as well as disparaging anybody who disagrees with the idea that the Fourth Amendment is sacrosanct and needs to be respected just like the other ones. And this is where we need to break this left-right paradigm. For so long, the left has cared about civil liberties issues but disparaged the Second Amendment, and the right basically would care about the Second Amendment and disparage civil liberties or kind of ignore them. We need to get the same people who harangued the Senate to do the right thing. We need to get them on the senators and say, we don't just want the Second Amendment. We want the Fourth Amendment. We want the Sixth Amendment.
We want all of them.
First Amendment. Exactly. We want all of these things. So get on, tell people on Facebook to get onto the senators. Everybody give them a call and let them know, because time is very short.
And that's very important. This is a good time, especially to people who are internet savvy and, use it quite frequently. This concerns you a great deal. It's not just about hacking the new Iron Man movie or whatever else.
Use those ones and zeros to inform each other.
Yeah, use those ones and zeros to inform each other. Like you write your friends all day on Twitter and Facebook. Write your congressman. Write your senator. Write people who can actually do things about this and say, hey, I'm a supporter of you, or at least I could potentially support you if you support getting this out of here. So definitely keep that in mind. And I just mentioned briefly the new Iron Man movie. I saw this on Drudge yesterday. They have smell-o-vision now. Did you see that?
No thanks.
It's smell-o-vision, so you can smell Robert Downey Jr.'s sweaty armpits in Iron Man. They call it 4D.
Oh, great.
So you have smell now in your movies.
Great. I think that's going to be an even bigger flop in the theaters than 3D is turning out to be.
Oh my gosh!
We need to focus on content.
Are we? That's way off topic. Yeah. Where are we in the press conference? Are we about to start or still waiting? Okay. Yeah. We'll keep that cat in the bag for right now. All right. So let's start with take some calls. We'll start with Brad in Michigan.
How you guys doing today?
Very well. Very well.
I'm a first-time caller, but I'm a listener for life.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to talk about the incidences that have been happening in the past week or so. And I remember you guys had, or Alex Jones had his son on there, and he was talking about how they destabilize the regions over in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And I was just curious, is that something that could... I have this feeling that it's going to be coming this way.
Well, I mean, just look at some of the news that was breaking in the last couple of days. There was an article on Drudge Report where they were saying it was essentially the Syrian president saying, "You guys are using Al Qaeda, and Al Qaeda is going to come back to bite you in America and bite you in Western Europe and everything." Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, and he pointed out, and this is all the people are talking about this. He pointed out that the U.S. created Al Qaeda to go against the Russians, and but the question is, were they ever not in control of them? That's really the question. We know they created them. We know that they used them to overthrow Libya. We know that they're using them in Syria, that they're sending money to them, even though we are supposedly, and we truly are, in dire straits as far as money goes, as far as the sequester goes. We are broke, and we're printing money and borrowing money from the Federal Reserve banks and paying them tremendous amounts of interest so that we can send that money then to Al Qaeda. Is absolutely an insane foreign policy.
And just look at Al Qaeda, the Free Syrian Army, as they are referred to in Syria. They're recruiting children who are playing with dynamite and AK-47. Syrian girl has been on here talking about how the Syrian Army is raping people. The Free Syrian Army is raping young women and young girls even. They're beating up old men in the streets. You can find all that stuff on Syrian Girls Partisan channel, I believe it's called, on YouTube.
And I got to say, we looked at this press conference or not a press conference, but Representative Duncan questioning Janet Napolitano about this Saudi person of interest. And when I first heard that, the reports were that they grabbed a Saudi guy because he was running, and of course
everybody was running
doing that. And I thought, well, they just singled this guy out because he's Arab. But then the fact that they would deport him, I find that to be the most suspicious thing about it.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Since we know that it was Saudis that they used as the narrative for 9/11, whatever their involvement was. Of course, we know they found all their passports immediately afterwards, some of them laying on top of the heaps of the,
that's
building.
very...
But there's been this kind of connection in the past, just as there has been with Al-Qaeda. And so I find that to be even more suspicious than the initial reports.
All right, and thank you for your call, Brad. We'll take calls until the press conference starts. We'll go to Chris in California.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Very well.
Right. Just a quick question. I don't know if you guys happen to look at YouTube about Charlie Chaplin. Appreciate you guys.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you get a little closer to your phone?
Oh, yeah. Charlie Chaplin. I don't know if you guys watched his video on YouTube, Message to the Humanity.
Are you talking about the original Charlie Chaplin? Or is this somebody new?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too sure if it's somebody new or somebody original. But there's a video on YouTube, Message to Humanity, and it's a pretty good video. I don't know if you guys ever looked at it or maybe someone else has.
No, I haven't seen it. What's the video about?
It's just talking about how he doesn't want to be a dictator, and he wants people to wake up from all the chaos and corruption that's going on in the world. That's about a 3-minute and 30-second clip.
Okay. And you said it's, can you tell us the title one more time?
Charlie Chaplin, Message to Humanity.
Okay, thank you for your call, Chris. We're going to move on to Sam in Ohio.
How you doing?
Doing very well.
Good. I was calling in to make sure people were informed of the Act of 1871, which turned the United States into a corporation. 2 constitutions now are in place, the Organic Constitution and the Corporate Constitution.
You said the Act of 1871.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is very important because with the Act of 1871, the Corporate Constitution is operating in private international law. Our original Organic Constitution was not to operate in private international law. So I just wanted to put that out there so people can check that out themselves.
Okay.
I feel that it's very important for all Americans to know the truth.
Well, we certainly have the narrative that we've heard over and over again about the Constitution being a living document, that they're not bound to it. And now we have a lot of people coming out and just saying, well, let's get rid of the Second Amendment, let's get rid of the Constitution, let's not be bound by it. We need to make sure that the Constitution is being obeyed.
Exactly. And a good example of what she's talking about is that movie Network, where I do believe we may have that audio clip where Mr. Howard Beale is getting the lecture about there is no United States, there is no Canada, there's only IBM and AT&T and this and that. And that's a very real, very true statement in that film Network.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Thank you for your call, Sam. We'll move on to Dennis in Colorado.
Hello?
Hello.
Are you there?
Yes.
Are you?
Can I get a signal?
Yes, go ahead with your call.
Well, this stuff's been going on for years. I mean, even from Vietnam, when they say they don't do landmines no more, and they drop these baseball-sized things that popped up and kill people, and the government's been in a lot of conspiracy.
Absolutely.
So this isn't the first time this has happened in Boston or Waco or wherever.
And if you go back, if you can probably find it online if you don't have a physical copy of it. But the very first Infowars magazine, Kurt Nimmo wrote a very good article about the history of false flags, and he basically took it up to about the time of the Vietnam War. There were a ton of false flag incidents there, all of which have now been declassified, things like Operation Gladio and Northwoods, those sorts of things, as well as
Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin, exactly. So But there have been a lot more since then, and so we're going to be updating that article. Watch for that.
All right. Thank you for your call. Move back to Bruce in Canada.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hey, how do I sound now?
You do sound much better. Go ahead.
Excellent, excellent. Let's just cut right to the jib here then, gentlemen. Last week, exactly 1 week ago today, 3 days before the bombing, the government re-released a tape where Adam Gadon, the grandson of the ADL, called for lone wolf attacks to cause mass casualties using whatever means obtainable. MSNBC's show Morning Joe ran text on screen 3 days before the attack on April 11th. The text on screen said, "Video draws attention to potential terror threat."
Can you give us the date? Give us that date again.
The latest gun control bill got voted down. Adam got on and he said you could go arm yourself with a fully automatic weapon at a gun show with no paperwork in the video. A total lie, but it's extremely convenient, wouldn't you say? I mean, the other boogeymen are dead after all. You can't say old Anwar al-Awlaki, the CIA lackey, was the bomber's handler anymore, like he did in Times Square, or he did at Fort Hood, right? Osama bin Goldstein can't rise from the grave to help Obama politically like he did with Bush. Conveniently, Adam was linked to Fort Hood shooting before they killed the last guy with the Predator drone. And who released the tape days before the bombing? You know, the government. Who's desperate to link the Tea Party and libertarians with terrorist groups? The government. So let's blow a hole in what their official narrative would have been days ago. You know, let's stand in front of, like, this is incredible. Lots of publications already saying it was some patriot-type fellow. Like, that's the automatic thing you go to now. I mean, the script is now officially flipped. I mean, all it takes now is to tie a free-thinking, patriot-minded patsy on an event like Patriots Day to some CIA guy like Adam, you know, Adam Gadon, and just say Adam Gadon was the bomber's handler, because you can't do that with the last guy died, right? So check this video out. Here's the hello.
Yes, go ahead. There.
Here's the text of it. Unbelievable video. Most wanted Al Qaeda terrorist Adam Gadon likes the NRA. That's the text of the YouTube video. It's a 60-second like gun control video that Al Qaeda made conveniently before their last agenda. I mean, I see right through this, you know?
Oh, yeah. All right, thank you. We'll check that out. All right, we'll move on now to Dennis in Texas.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. I've got a couple of things for you. I worked in the Middle East for almost 38 years. I've worked with the various agencies and operating companies and operators. You're very correct about the uniform that these people were wearing. If you look, you'll probably find that they came from a company called 511, and the boots are Danner. The stuff, the tactical pants are 511s. It's a 5-in-1 jacket, and their caps. You're correct as to the logo and everything. The Saudis don't operate with U.S. Navy SEALs. They actually operate with the Special Boat Service, or SAS.
FAS?
And that would be the English.
SAS. Oh, SAS.
The UK.
And what I would suggest is that if we really want to get to the bottom of this, the people that are identified in the photos should be identified and brought forward, and they should provide a critique for what happened during that operation and why it failed, and what the intent of the operation was. And they all work for us.
Absolutely.
There's no reason that they shouldn't be trotted out and should provide a critique.
And if the government is going to tell us that they need to take our liberties so that they can make us secure, then they need to give us an explanation as to why, when they have that many people and that concentrated in that area, they were so totally ineffective. Even when they were apparently were looking and expecting something from all reports.
Yeah, and I believe the agency that the guys allegedly worked for was called Kraft. Was that correct?
Somebody had mentioned that.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned
company. There's a lot of different companies, but we're paying these people, and they're kind of cowboys. In the Middle East, all the companies that were under DOD were brought under the UCMJ, but there was one company working for the State Department that wasn't brought under the UCMJ, and they're the people that became cowboys over there. They're the people that got killed in Fallujah. They're the reason that Fallujah was destroyed. Basically, these people got scared. They thought they were surrounded. They just shot in all directions. The people became outraged, and they got hung from the bridge. And we, our military, destroyed Fallujah for that reason. I watched it.
Why are you denying that there was bomb drills Monday morning? We got photographs on Infowars.com, folks, of contracts.
Next question, please. Next question, please. Yes.
Are both suspects seen planting these devices at the finish line?
Not going to answer Dan.
The situation, but as Dan pointed out, we have other images on Infowars.com. There are images on other sites that may not be on Infowars.com of other people that may be included in the bombing.
I'm not as confident as you are in their competence. Because quite frankly, he said to go to FBI.gov. I went there with my iPad, and Safari can't open because the server has stopped responding. So they put all this on a web page where they couldn't handle the traffic. Did they not anticipate that a lot of people might go there?
I'm sure they did. I mean, and I'm sure the writers or whoever will put the suspects on with our pictures that we have on Infowars.com.
Right. But we didn't see any pictures of the stuff that's been floating around.
No, they didn't address that at all.
Other people have put up, and it's worth noting here that Peter King was saying, no, we need to have more cameras. We need to have more cameras. What he means by that is they need to have more government cameras, he thinks.
Exactly.
Okay, they do not want us taking pictures in public of them doing their job or even of a crime site. And even when we get pictures of a crime site, they want to discount that and say, well, those aren't officially taken by the FBI, or, we don't look at those. Don't talk about those. And that was what Dan was trying to ask him. There are other pictures here. Tell us about, why did you rule those out or whatever? They're not going to respond to that.
And I definitely can't wait to see that video when he sees Dan. He's like, oh man, it's him again. Like, who let that guy in here? Like, he's back in here. Next question, yeah. Next question. Okay, so I guess, guys, we will roll just to 5 o'clock just to make it good and even and take some calls on this. The number to call in is 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539. Jim in New York, did you have a chance to see the press conference?
Hello, Jim in New York. Are you there?
Concerning the Boston bombings, okay?
I'm sorry, I think we missed the... Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Start from the beginning.
Yeah, I had something very strange happen to me considering the Boston bombings, all right? I took advantage of the Paul Revere contest, and I did a video, and I shipped out 2 squatty potties to Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bloomberg. This was Sunday.
Okay.
Come Tuesday, when the boxes were received, my video on YouTube is related and associated to everything that happened in Boston.
Can you say that again? You sent out 2 squatty potties, and then what happened after that?
I sent out 2 squatty potties Sunday morning at about 5 in the morning from Rochester, New York, out in Henrietta, to Mayor Bloomberg and Governor Cuomo, and I decorated the outside of the box. It was comical in nature. Okay? So Tuesday, I looked at my YouTube channel where it said related videos to, the Paul Revere contest, the Squatty Potty winner contest, Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bloomberg. When I clicked on related videos, all the videos that were uploaded for the Boston bombing was related to me. Now, the thing is this, is I'm a guy that wears a mask, I'm in a kilt, and I act in a vaudevillian way, and I throw in some comedy, satire, and humor.
Yeah, before, Jim, can you just hold on 1 second? Can you just tell us the headline of your video so we can pull it up?
Squatty Potty contest winner.
Squatty Potty contest winner, guys, if we can pull that up on YouTube.
Yeah, New York City Twin Sphincters.
Okay, go ahead.
And do you want the channel name? Because it's the feature video. And I'm not doing this for this. I can actually email you the pictures and a brief video, or I'll try to upload the video tonight from my phone, that I actually have the videos that were associated with me. So, number one, nothing in the title is associated with what happened Monday. My video was uploaded Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a guy that likes the Constitution, and I have done these videos pertaining to Obama, radical Islam, and everything else like this. So for my video to be related, such a topic is absolutely horrendous. And like I said, I'm not scared. I know the perils we're in. Just kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let me ask.
When it came to the meta tagging was Paul Revere contest, NWO, New World Order, Alex Jones contest winner, had nothing pertaining to do with Boston. Now, mind you, I did this a day before,
right?
Sunday.
That's interesting. Now, as part of the contest, typically it's a requirement that you put Infowars.com in the description. Was that also there? You had a meta tag of Alex Jones. Did you have Infowars.com in the description?
Yes, I did. I most definitely did that. It's, the Squatty Potty, contest winners and the rest of the name. And I'm thinking, what is this? I mean, am I being set up as a potential future patsy? Because, if you check out the video, I'm a guy who's animated with a mask and a kilt. Stick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting.
I'm trying to deliver the message in a different way instead of the typical, New World Order. And I'm trying to get some levity to it.
Right. Yeah, comedy can be very effective. It'll be interesting to see if any others that are tagged with Infowars or Alex Jones, if that was the thing that was doing it, or exactly what tagged it over there. But that's
we'd have to see if any other videos.
Thanks for pointing that out. We'll take a look at that.
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that, because we'd have to look at more entries, because it may not just have been yours if that was indeed the case. But we'll look into that. Thank you for your call.
It might have been something as innocent as that, and the fact that so many of the videos that Alex has done about this bombing have gone viral.
Oh yeah, recently.
And so they look at a viral video and topics on it, and then they find that relationship there. So that might have been the common thread. We'll have to take a look at that.
All right, thank you for your call. We'll move on to Dennis in London. Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in the last few days, there's been a lot of black helicopters in the skies above London. And
anywhere in particular? Any location?
What's the Thatcher funeral?
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, there's been that as well, but I mean, we've been seeing them for a long time now. It's not just in the last few days. It's quite a common thing, and people don't really talk about it, but it's happening a lot. And there's one thing I want to say. I don't know if you're aware of it, but on the White House website, I believe it is, there's Obama put his birth certificate up there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can we pull that up right now?
Is that something new, or is that the old Photoshop thing?
Yeah, the Photoshop thing. I think if you open it up in Adobe Illustrator, you can see that it's made up of different layers.
Right, yeah.
Oh, so it's nothing recent. It's nothing recent is what you're saying.
Well, I only found it out last week, but the thing is, I went on that website, and then within an hour, I had police knocking on my door.
Really? Were they questioning you about that specifically?
No, they didn't. They were asking me about other stuff in the area, but it was really dodgy. It was one police officer by himself. He just kept staring really into my eyes, and then he said he was going to knock on other doors in the building. But when I looked out my window, he had left. So,
well, I tell you,
yeah,
we've had you're talking about this in England. We had someone calling yesterday talking about changes that he's seeing in Canada. As I was driving last night, I heard picked up here on a local radio station is a program from a guy that's out of Australia, and he was basically talking they have something similar to the Utah data center, and he was talking about how they were keeping track and spying on citizens in Australia, and how many times they had set up patsies and done exactly the same sort of thing that we see done here by the FBI in the United States, where they would go out and get a patsy, and you would find that all these guys around him that were organizing this failed attempt were all government agents, and they were planning it, they were funding it, they were training it, and they were putting the whole thing out, and at the last minute they pull it in and make a big press event out of it and arrest the patsy. And he was saying that they're doing the same thing there. It's a global pattern, And that's what we're talking about. And that's why we talk about things like the New World Order, and we see things that are being done like the UN Arms Trade Treaty. I mean, it is an Agenda 21. These are things that are not just unique to the United States. They may be driven primarily by a lot of power brokers that are located primarily in the United States, but these are global issues.
All right. Thank you for your call, Dennis. Now, we're trying to talk specifically about the recent press conference. If you have another topic, that's fine, but try to keep your comment brief because we want to talk about the recent press conference. We'll move on to Brandon in Texas.
Hey, Jakari, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, this is not about the press conference, but it is about what you guys are talking about. I met you in Katy when y'all came down here to protest Piers Morgan. And I want to give you some information that you didn't really talk about.
Okay.
Which was the Batman map about Sandy Hook.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now if you look at the whole thing, have your listeners take a look at the map.
No, sir, before you get into that, have you seen our article on Infowars.com about the Batman maps?
Well, you guys talk about the Sandy Hook, which is fine, which is strike point 1, which it shows, but all the symbolism on Gotham, we're on strike point 4, which is the Patriot symbolism, the 13 objects in a circle, just like the George Washington flag you cross with the Delaware.
Right.
Now, that's strike point 4. Strike point 2 is the far right of the pyramid, which was Alex, going with Piers Morgan. They're going after the far right. Strike point 3 was the head of the snake. You had the FPS Russia guy and other people getting whacked mysteriously. Now we're on strike point 4, which is the Patriots. Now we have strike point 5, which is the last one, which is the capstone of the pyramid, which could be the elite can orchestrate attacking themselves to victimize themselves.
It's kind of hard to follow when we don't have a visual on it. But you know what? The best thing that you could do,
just Google the Batman map. That's all you got to do.
And it would be good if you've got something to point out there. Do a video of it or an article, and
that'd be really effective.
Happy. Send that to Show Tips, and we'd be happy to take a look at that.
All right, thank you for your call, Brandon. We'll move on now to Derek in Wisconsin.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Very well.
Just want to thank you guys for what y'all doing. Did you guys finish watching the CNN broadcast with Dan there?
Yes. You noticed him as well.
Did you see the two guys jump in front of him? Right away?
That's what I wanted to see because we were watching it on CNN, and I was wondering if maybe there was another news network that had an angle because I could see somebody when the FBI guy was up, somebody walking behind him looked like he was walking real fast.
Went up in front of him, and then I finished watching it before they cut it out. And by the end of the feed, Dan had like a group of reporters and cameras around him. As he's all yelling about that.
Well, I'm sure we got that. I'm sure we have that recorded on various channels, and we can set it up. Maybe not. We may not have it tonight for the nightly news, but I'm sure by sometime tomorrow we can get those clips together.
Well, we were hoping that.
Real quick question, if I could.
Sure.
For an average person wanting to start out as far as, doing what you guys are doing, it just seems like blogging and websiting isn't enough. What do you guys suggest for the average person to do? Obviously they like to try
I'll tell you how I got turned onto this information was watching documentaries, not necessarily Alex's documentaries, but documentaries, especially some of his older stuff. Because you talk about Alex Jones and they want to talk about, the stuff he's talking about today. Well, the FBI says it's these two guys and Alex Jones is saying, hey, look at these guys. Go back, find some old school Alex Jones footage. Like there's a clip of Alex Jones. I can't remember what movie it's in, but he's telling people back in the 90s that they're going to start putting microphones and cameras on streetlights. And people are like, oh, you're crazy, Alex Jones. And now that stuff's admitted. So I would go watch that old stuff so you can see how the things he actually talks about back in the day have actually come true.
But caller, are you asking how you could get involved in helping inform people? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yeah, because it seems like you say, you can build a blog and website, but it's just, it doesn't just seem like enough. I mean, anybody can redistribute information.
Well, that's true, but I would take a look at some of the really gutsy stuff that Luke Radowski's doing, that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean,
Project
you're going to have to do something like that and get out there. But, if you put yourself out there, if you sit in your basement and you write blogs and stuff, that's really not going to do it. But if you get out there and
come down to Texas and get a job with you guys.
Well, into the Paul Revere contest, you may do just that. But like David was saying, things that We Are Change are doing, things that Project Veritas is doing, those are great, out in the street reports. You have to go out there. That's what it is. I mean, it's great to do do your blog and your writing and all that stuff. But even we'd like to be out in the streets more, but we have to run a show and we have to get all this other stuff together. Get out in the streets. Go out there and confront your city councilman, your mayor, your governor, your police chief. That's what it is, and that's what's going to get you the hits. We definitely appreciate your call. We'll move on now to Jeff, and is that Montreal?
Yes, I'm in Montreal, Canada. Thank you for taking my call, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Very well.
Good. It's so nice to meet you, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Knight, finally. I just wanted to make some remarks about the press conference, if I could.
Sure, go ahead.
Did you notice or some observations, did you notice the first gentleman, the first suspect is wearing a ball cap with a logo on it?
Yes, he didn't look like, just the way he was dressed, he didn't look like the other guys we'd been talking about, but I did notice some similarities in that, but go ahead.
Tan pants, but not tan shoes.
Yeah.
Like.
Exactly. So, there's just that enough that they throw in there to throw you off. Conveniently, they all were wearing ball caps, so that's good. I'm glad they got that together. But these have to be the quickest press conferences ever.
Yes. Yeah.
Dan keeps shutting these guys down. I love it.
He hasn't called us yet. He hasn't called us yet. We're kind of expecting a call from him, and I think he's probably holding his own press conference. It's probably going to last longer than the one the FBI.
Yeah, you guys definitely let us know if we can't get him on. We'll try to get him on maybe the nightly news. Okay, yeah. But did you have any other comments on that, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I just think that it was incredibly obvious that the FBI special agent was extremely nervous. You could tell by his voice.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Why did they wait until 5 p.m. to show the American public and the world that they have suspects, these two suspects? You would think that they would just release that right away. I mean, get this out, be on the lookout kind of stuff. And my second question is, for you guys to answer perhaps, is why is Israel sending in experts to help the Boston Police Department or the FBI?
I was not aware of that.
Did they announce that, or was that something you saw somewhere else? I didn't catch that in the press conference.
I'm not aware of that.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Knight, I read that on the internet today. I believe it was mainstream media. You can look for yourselves. Google Israel sending in experts to help the FBI. Just bizarre stuff. I was wondering if you guys could check that out.
Do you have any source, CBS, ABC, anything in particular?
Take a look here. I've been posting this stuff on Facebook all day, but let me take a look here.
I can imagine they would justify that by saying that there's been so many civilian bombings in Israel that these people have had some experience on it. But, who knows about that? But in terms of why they would wait until this point to put out that little information, I think it really goes back to the fact that, they were originally scheduled to do this 24 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after we picked up those pictures that they changed the schedule, and we started talking about those different pictures. And to me, it was all he said in the press conference was, "We've got 2 pictures of individuals. Ignore everything else you've heard."
Yeah, that's pretty much what.
And when Dan tried to ask him follow-up questions on that, he shut Dan down and
then shut the conference down.
Then shut the conference down because you can't shut Dan down.
Yeah, you can't shut Dan down. Well, we'll definitely look into that, Jeff. Thank you for your call. All right, now, once again...
guys, I just got to say, I'm going to cover this on the Nightly News. This is a desperate cover-up.
Yeah.
They're just putting rabbit trails out left and right. We've got the people. Mm-hmm. We've got the Patsy the redneck they were going to burn, that they pulled the military up to grab out of the courthouse. We've got them with the Saudis, everything. They are shut down, man. They are in disarray right now. So the good news is they're not blaming us right now for this.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they just want to just keep throwing distractions out and say, please don't look at any other photos that are out there, i.e. Infowars.com. Janet Napolitano is in Congress. Do not look at Drudge, who's carrying our stuff. We are engaging the globalists at point blank range right now.
Yep. Thank you, Alex. All right. So, Alex, you're doing the show tonight, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. Alex Jones, 7 p.m. Central, Infowars Nightly News. All right. We'll move on now to Adam in Florida.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, thank you.
A couple comments I wanted to bring up. First of all, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I know from personal experience, just my group of people that I communicate with, I've turned on so many people to you guys, and they thank me, and I'm like, no, thank these guys. These guys are on the streets, they're putting in the hours, and again, I can't thank you enough for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Just watched the senator questioning
Napolitano. Yeah.
You know,
hey guys, keep going. Get Badandi on. He's calling. Badandi.
Okay. All right. Is he?
Guys in front of him. Guys on him.
Okay. Adam, just
hang on. We got to get Dan Badandi.
Stay right there, Adam. Tell us when you have Dan on the line. So we have Dan Badandi. He was at the press conference. If you didn't see him, you definitely heard him.
By the way, the viewers, we're overwhelmed. We can't upload all this to YouTube. Listeners, you clip all this out. Put the juicy clips on YouTube. We'll put them on Infowars.com. We need everybody's help. This is War Room, baby.
Yep.
I mean, Infowars is shutting their ass down.
Alex Jones is very... All right, there's Dan Badandi. All right, Dan. All right, start at the beginning. So you're sitting there, and the press conference starts, and what happens?
I'm sitting in the press conference. I'm holding the photos, and I heard one of the FBI agents go over into the hallway and say they got photos. Then they come back right away. They're saying, explaining.
Dan, I know you're excited, but don't talk so loud. It's overdriving. Just relax and talk slowly.
All right, I'm a little excited here. I was sitting, my partner here gave me a bunch of full-colored 8x10 photos of the suspects, basically. And one of the FBI agents called one of the guys. He held me in the office to take photos because they were eyeing me the whole time I was here. So they come out right away. They ignore all the photos except for on the FBI's website. And when I jumped out to ask the questions, of course, they had to pull the press conference again because they could not answer the real truth.
Okay, Dan, so you start asking your questions. Now, were you surrounded? Were you mobbed by the FBI guys?
Oh, yeah. They come right up to me like a bunch of Gestapos. I told them, I'm not afraid of you criminals.
So about how many...
They think they could use a scare tactic against this case.
Yeah, Dan, about how many people do you think there were that surrounded you?
I just said everybody up in the front. I mean, you should be able to see it on the news. I was just too excited at the time, and it's crazy over here. I mean, we got cops staring at Albert over here. I got two guys that run video cameras now the whole time, and hopefully we can make it safely out of Boston.
Dan, we had some reports that after the FBI spokesperson left, that there were press gathered around you and interviewing you. Did you have some comments to give other people?
Oh, absolutely. I showed them the photographs, and then notice, when I presented the photographs, notice how the clown in back of me put up his clipboard to block my photographs from the cameras.
Really?
And they didn't want these photos to be shown. They shut the entire press conference down because I exposed the truth of what's going on there.
Okay, Dan, can you think of anybody in particular? Did you notice any particular affiliate or anybody that you talked to?
Devastating victory. Devastating. Everybody should join him at the next press conference. All real media converge on Boston. Defeat the terrorist.
All right, Alex. So Dan, did you notice anybody in particular that you gave an interview to? Any affiliate? Any local person?
I'm sorry, repeat that question.
Did you find any? Can you think of anybody in particular? Did you talk to CNN? Did you talk to Fox? Was there anybody in particular you talked to?
I think I talked to everybody. I mean, I just got bombarded with cameras and reporters. So I mean, I think the whole world just heard what Infowars has to say.
Okay, so if you're out there and you're an info warrior, especially if you're in the city of Boston, watch your local news. See if you can find those Dan Badandi clips and send them to us at showtips@Infowars. And also, I believe there's we have a couple other ones, but you can call in and call us and tell us about it. 877-789-ALEX.
Hey, Dan, it was Dan, it's a little bit hard to hear you. I just wanted to clarify this. So you're saying that you had pictures printed out that we had, and you were holding those up, and they put clipboards up to cover that? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. They're on 8x10 glossy photos. We get the photos from Infowars.com. Then we presented them, and of course, they called the press conference.
Dan, let me just stop you and repeat all this slowly, because I understand you're on your cell. It's overdriving. They don't want the white redneck patsies. They probably already executed out there. They don't want the Navy SEALs. They are scared. I'm telling you, folks, you get these articles out that are at Infowars.com. This is coffin nails to the tyranny. Go ahead, Dan.
And if you notice on the TV, Alex, when I was doing this, the looks on these criminals' faces, they jumped off that stage like, oh, my God, we just got exposed to the world.
Yeah, that's exactly what they look like.
We, at Infowars.com, we dripped nail right through the heart of the New World Order this week, Monday and today, man. And all your work you've been doing, Alex, day and night, you drove a stake through the heart of the New World Order.
All right, Dan, that's some good reporting. We're having a little bit of a difficulty hearing you, so maybe we can get back in touch with you at a later date, but definitely get us that footage.
All right, let me get some better reception here.
Oh,
all right, I'll call you right back. I got bad reception over here.
Okay, he said he has bad reception. I think Alex is trying to talk to you.
Am I on air now?
I can hear you, Alex.
Yeah, I'm in here in the studio, so listen, this is so exciting, folks. We're actually engaging these people. Dan Dan, are you using hands-free? What did he say?
Sound like somebody's talking to him. Dan.
Badandi, are you on hands-free?
Hello, Dan.
I don't think he can hear me. I don't think it's piped through.
No, he can't hear me either.
Just tell him to get off hands-free.
I can't hear him. Can't hear him, Alex. Can we just call him back? Can we hang up and call him back?
Yeah, he's just
sounded like somebody said something to him.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody cut him off.
Yeah. All right. So can we just call him back and we'll try to reestablish connection there with Dan Badandi?
No, cut the fact that this is a devastating victory. Let me tell you, dude, they are scared. He said the police were like, "Well, you're going to be a good boy now, aren't you?" They didn't want to make a scene about arresting him to then point everybody at this. They're like, "Please don't look at other photos. We blew the kids up. Please, we murdered people. Please don't look at it." I mean, this is amazing.
Exactly.
When you got the government saying, "Please don't look here," where do you look?
Right.
Exactly.
There. Yeah.
There's nobody buried in the backyard. Don't dig under the rose bushes.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. All right, so we're trying to reestablish connection with Dan Badandi. In the meantime, Adam in Florida, continue your point.
To, again, bring up a couple points. Alex just touched on one of them, but really what I want to get out, and again, with Napolitano, don't look at anything but what I give you. Make sure it's filtered before you report on it. I mean, anybody that knows anything about sociology, I'm not, a sociology major by any means, but at the same time, I study people. That's one of my hobbies. Anybody that plays poker, you can just look at these people and tell their minds are going a mile a minute on how to keep everything, down. They don't want any of this information leaking out. And again, I can't congratulate you guys on what you're doing enough.
Well, thank you. They don't want the public to question it, and they don't want a congressman to question this either.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for your call. We have to keep moving. Thank you for your call. We'll move on now to Marcus in Texas.
Just sitting here listening, what's been going on. Originally, my opinion was that not everything's a false flag, but maybe this one was real. But just listening in the last few minutes, this is really starting to look real to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm a doubter because I'm a little bit cautious, and I guess there's probably nothing wrong with that. But anyhow, my main reason to call in was to try to inject a little bit of humor and make a comment about the gun reform defeat. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at Yahoo News, and it says Obama chastises Senate over failed gun reform amendment. And if you scroll down to near the bottom of the page, just a second, there's another subtitle, Explore Related Content. And if you look, you see in the center, you see Obama and Joe Biden standing right beside him. And no kidding, I swear one of Jeff Dunham's puppets is missing and standing beside. He looks exactly like Walter.
Wow. Okay, thank you for your call. We're almost to the end of our broadcast, so we're going to jump. Thank you for your call, Marcus. We'll move on to Rob in Indiana. Okay, I'm sorry, Rob, hang right there. We have Dan Badandi back. Dan, go ahead. Hello, Dan. Can you hear me? I can't hear him.
Hey, Dan, are you there?
You're talking to Alex's wife, not Dan Badandi. You're on the wrong line.
I'm sorry, this is Dan's wife? Oh.
Oh, okay.
Does she want to talk to us? Okay, can we turn? Yeah, I can hear the ringtone. Yeah, I can hear the ringtone in my piece. Thank you, guys. Mm-hmm. Just let us know when you get Dan back. Is he ready to go? Okay, they're still trying to get him back. Okay, Rob in Indiana. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Rob?
I'd like to, first of all, say thank you for all the information you guys put out. I mean, honestly, a lot of people are so uninformed of what's going on. And a lot of it's crazy. It's so crazy you can't even believe it. And that's half of my problem. I try to talk to people. But the reason I'm calling is there's actually more similarities in the way these guys are dressed than you would think. And I've looked at the pictures.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. Can you get to the chase? We're short on time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when you look at the pictures of what the potential SEAL gentlemen, they have khaki pants. They're wearing black jackets, and one's actually wearing a black hat with a white mark on it.
Right.
Now, doesn't it seem obvious when you're trying to create a deception that you would have more than one person dressed alike, just so you can't pin it on anybody?
Okay, I'm sorry, Rob. We're going to have to put you back on hold. We have Dan Badandi back on the scene. Dan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so it sounded like somebody was talking to you when we lost contact?
Yeah, we're still getting bombarded by the press out here. I'm in my car right now.
Okay.
I got my buddies out here showing the photographs, and it's just like, it was like amazing again. They quickly avoided the question. The thing is, if these things weren't true, why wouldn't they address it? Say, hey, we got proof it's not. But they choose to avoid it, give you dirty looks, then they canceled the press conference. The woman comes on stage, it's over. Now it was like a couple minutes into the question, and not even, and they refused to answer my questions.
Now, did you see, I didn't see on the stage, was the governor or the mayor or anybody else you talked to there?
There was, I didn't see the governor, but the FBI director, he was here, that's in charge anyway. ATF agent, there was a bunch of feds here, basically. All the feds who are here, the leaders, whoever they are.
And Dan, Dan, they don't put all those people on the podium just to have them stand there. They're going to let some of those other people speak as well. That was the original plan. So you did shut that press conference down.
Yeah, because he said, oh, here's Alex.
Dan, you have shut down all 3 press conferences. Now you've got to call Luke Rudowski. We should link up with him and like have 15 people in there next time. Because they're going to try to drag you out. It doesn't matter. And it just shows how it's one man.
Yeah.
These people, these crooks just run everything and no one resists them.
One man.
All we've got
Dan
is
Badandi.
one man, Dan Badandi. I mean, it's just like we're on them like stink on you know what.
Yeah.
And it is on, man. I mean, well done, Lord Vader.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you, Alex.
So you said...
Luke Rudowski is on his way as we speak. So
yeah, this is going to be good. Man, we're battling the enemy hard.
Right. That's where it needs to be. That guy called earlier and he wanted to know how to get on there. Go to Boston right now if you're listening.
Yes, if
get out of your basement, get away from your computer, and go to Boston and start getting in the face of people and starting to ask people questions.
Yeah.
By the way, Infowars is getting double the traffic it's ever gotten. We broke the record a few days ago. Now it's double that. Right now, it's smoke is coming out of it, out of the servers, and fire. And Watson just went up with the deal of FBI ignores men with backpacks, but that's not even the issue. It's a great headline by Watson working around the clock. It's like midnight where he's at.
Yeah.
It's even worse than that. This is the FBI saying, never mind all the real suspects, because it's their people. We have them.
Yeah.
I mean, that is them panicking. And please, media, don't look at Infowars or Drudge, whatever you do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like you tell the kids, don't do that, then they go and do it.
But I mean, if it was BS, they would just say, oh, whatever, this is what we think. No, it's like, don't look there.
Yeah.
And they're begging the media, play ball with us now. We'll pat you on the head.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. They really
go for 5 more minutes with Badandi. They need to take a break and restart recordings, just as we're live. It's filling up the data thing.
All right.
And if you guys can come back on if you want, if the crew wants, you can have a vote on it. If not, 7 o'clock Central Infowars Nightly News.
Okay, all right, Dan, we're going to wrap up with you, and then we'll try to give maybe Rob 1 minute.
5 minutes. He can have
5
whatever
minutes.
he wants.
Okay, all right, Dan, let's start from the beginning. Just tell us your whole story in your words.
First of all, the hotel is the Sheraton on Dalton Street in Boston. It's right next to the Hilton. You can't miss it. And again, I think it's 40 or one. It's the Hilton. Right next to the Hilton. It's called the Sheraton Hotel on Dalton Street in Boston, Mass. Infowars, get out here, ask questions. We need you. We're still at the hotel now outside the grounds here, and we were just like informing people as they're walking, showing them the pictures. The videos rolling, and if you want me to start over, we asked the questions, and they got ignored, so I kept pushing the questions. They quickly jumped on stage. The same woman canceled the press conference. All the men fleed off the stage with their tails between their legs because they knew they were wrong. And if you notice, right, I'll say this again in case you didn't hear me earlier. When the photos were given to me because my friend arrived late, the FBI agent stared at us. Okay, I heard the FBI agent in the hall. He said they got photographs because we were being watched the whole time. And that's why when he first came out, right away he stated, "Don't ignore." He says to ignore photographs except for our FBI photographs on the website.
Really? So, yeah, beware. Dan is armed with photographs.
I know. It's like this man has photographic evidence.
He is in the info war.
All right, Dan. So
then,
go.
One of the mainstream morons, high up agents, for all we know, he's putting a clipboard in my way so the cameras couldn't see my photographs.
You said it was a reporter who put a clipboard in your way?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a reporter or some agent or whatever, a government agent, reporter, whatever. He's trying to block my pictures with the clipboard from all the cameras. he didn't succeed with that, of course.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Dan,
I'm sorry if I'm like.
No, you sound good. I just want to hear your whole story from the beginning and the time we have. So the press conference begins, and just tell us your view.
Our press conference begins again right away. They had to state, don't pay attention to any other photos except for ours, because God forbid you like to, look for truth. And because they seen the photos we had, they seen we had a stack of photos, so they kind of said,
"Hi, we're the FBI. Whatever you do, don't look at these other photos of our people with the bombs."
Yep. And we got bombarded by the press, I think with some foreign media there that were actually questioning, taking video photos of our photos and wanted to hear everything we had to say. And they were very interested in that. Because unlike, dumbed-down mainstream media, foreigners love this stuff, and they love to hear the truth. And, of course, a lot of Infowars, we got a worldwide audience, and that's why we're number one in the world. Because we got a bunch of great people out there who search for the truth. And, it's amazing. We just sucker punch, not even sucker punch, we blasted the New World Order right in the heart.
Well, they have a lot of influence with the mainstream media, because the mainstream media wants access to them. They want to be called on when it's time to ask questions, so they're going to play nice. They're going to do whatever the FBI and the government tells them to do, and that's why the foreign press is interested in digging into this and finding out what the truth is, and that's why we're interested. We're more interested in the truth than we are about position.
By the way, Dan, you getting Infowars.com out on every network? I said double the traffic. That was earlier, the report. It's like 50 times the traffic. We're getting 1 million visitors every couple minutes right now.
Are you serious?
No. It's 100,000 new people every 60 seconds.
Wow.
Now, the IT guys have never... This is probably like the #1 website in the world just during this window.
Wow.
It is 100,000 new joining who's already on it. This isn't hits. These are visitors every minute.
Wow.
We're watching the New World Order burn down. Of course, enemy Star Destroyers are on their way.
Joining us was New American. One of the groups we have a group here that joined me, and he was one of my camera guys. Let me see a badge here. It's called the Free American Patriots Movement, and his name is Nick Marshall, I should say. He was one of my camera guys, and he braved right through the storm. And, my other buddy, Kevin LaPrade, I just want to give a shout-out to them because they cover my butt right now. They got video cameras all over me the whole time. And we were filming the event.
Great.
Marchesi, I'm sorry. What's that about that thing?
Is that your friend?
Before the event started, officials came and said, we need to clear the room. Everybody leave your bags and belongings in the room. They're going to do a search of the room. So I had my camera crew film the contents of my things under our chairs, every which way the cameras are set up. This way, because we know, just in case they're playing nothing on us.
Yeah.
So we covered our butt, and one of the military was trying to tell our guys to shut the cameras off. Of course, we did. And I asked him, are you the Army guy, I said, are you doing the security check? He goes, yes, I am. And I asked him, you ever had a posse comitatus? No, I didn't. But you're in the military, you should know the Constitution, yeah.
All right. Yeah, he's never heard of posse comitatus, right?
Yeah, I experienced that when I went out to the Formula One racetrack. Okay, Dan, we're not going to wear you out. I'm pretty sure they want you for the Infowars Nightly News. So maybe if you can get close to a Skype or something like that, and you can talk to Alex a little bit later on. But that's Dan Badandi on the scene in Boston.
And one more thing before you go. I just want to state, I read some articles lately, and there's articles stating forever, no matter what, mainstream media could never again ignore false flags, and they also could never again rule out a government as a possible suspect. We have dented this into the minds and hearts of the American people. And the truth, again, the truth will never be held back. The truth will always be revealed.
Great job, Dan. And if we can stop that technique of false flags, you saved a lot of lives.
Thank you. And, thanks to all you guys at Infowars getting these pictures out. And, we're all a team here. It's all, the credit goes to every one of us, especially Alex, who's worked day and night, working in his sleep, I heard.
Yeah.
And, Alex is amazing. So, my hat's off to all you guys.
Great job,
All right, Dan. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless you.
All right. There goes Dan Badandi. Let's go ahead and finish up with Rob in Indiana. Sorry for the long wait, but go ahead with your point, Rob.
Hey, that was awesome, actually. How about that? Actually, I would like to say one thing. Alex, if you can hear me, I'd like to tell you thank you for all the information that you're putting out. it really does make a difference. So if that means anything to you, that's just a true, honest thank you. The other thing is well, I'll get back to my point, and I'll make this really quick and I'll be on, is there is a lot of similarities between what those two gentlemen were wearing. They both had khaki pants. They both had black jackets. One had a black hat with a white emblem on it. The other one had a black hat with a white emblem on it. Mm-hmm. They both carried backpacks. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overseeing too much in this, but sure sounds like that they're trying to create a diversion. That's all. And then I'll finish up with this. I'll say it's a dang shame that we've become what we fought to get away from.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I got to say.
That is always the challenge, that you don't become the monsters that you fight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I know we wanted to call it at 5, but Alex says we are now the #1 news site in the world, or close to it.
At the moment.
Can we do 5:30? I don't want to go all the way to 7, but can we do 5:30? All right, we'll go to 5:30. We'll go continue with the calls. Diane in Louisiana, you are on the air.
Hi, David. Hi, Jakari.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. There was a caller earlier who mentioned he was from Louisiana and was talking about the black helicopters.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, the night Alex Jones was on Coast to Coast, I pulled up an article, ran by accident. They are having drills. They are scheduled for New Orleans. They didn't give a date, but they are letting the residents know that there will be some drills in New Orleans. So I'm thinking maybe Alex needs to get in touch with his friend Charles.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you know anything specific about the drills?
No, I don't, but you can pick it up at www.wrno.com.
WRNO?
Right.
Can we look that up right now, guys?
Local TV or radio station. Okay.
Right, it's for the local news, and it was just headline. They didn't go into a whole lot of details, but they was letting the residents know that they will be doing drills in New Orleans, but they did not give a date as to when.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, hopefully they won't be going to door to door like they did back in
That's probably why
Katrina.
he's in the black helicopters.
Yeah, I'm with David. I hope they don't go door to door. Thank you for your call. The number to call in is 877-789-ALEX. That is 877-789-2539. We're only going to 5:30 Central Time. It's about 5:10 right now, so we'll try to blaze through these calls. Let's go to Steve in Florida.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon. A couple things I want to cover real quick in relation to this so-called news conference that I picked up on watching it. First of all, the appearance of the arrogance of the FBI spokesman. I mean, he had it written all over his face. And did you notice the Freudian slip of the tongue where he was referring to the victims and talking about
they
their
have all they need?
because they deserve nothing more.
Yeah.
And then he switched to, nothing less.
Yeah.
I believe that was done on purpose. And I also wanted to say that, to me, this whole news conference was about one thing. It wasn't about them saying, we're investigating. This was a direct shot at Alex Jones at Infowars.com, because you notice as soon as the Dondi mentioned Infowars, they immediately shut him down. The thing about we're not going to have anybody nobody should look at any other photos. Why? Because yesterday, everything Alex had out about the photos of the seals, et cetera, I really believe that's the main reason they put this out. And finally, I just wanted to say, what you guys have been doing there with Infowars, I would relate that to carpet bombing in a war. You've gone to smart bombs, and here you've got precision hits by Dan the Bomb D and his smart bomb approach. And I want to say that what we ought to do is title what the New World Order is doing as in relation to what happened Monday, the Obama Marathon, the New World Order race for the curse.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, this the guy.
Not for the cure, but for the curse.
For the
That's
curse.
right.
All right. Thank you for your call. Like I said, the phone lines are lighting up, so let's move quick. We have Jim in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Much love to you guys. Thank you so much for your work. And I don't care if anybody wants to hear thank you or not. I'm going to tell you. All of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So, I ran into Alex years ago. About 6 years ago, I finally got the courage to look into my questions about 9/11, and I ran across depleted uranium, did quite a study on that. If people don't have the courage to look it up, I mean, I don't know what to say for them. But anyhow, the truth is the best news source I've ever gotten is Infowars.com.
Well, thank you.
Definitely, hands down. Now, here's the thing. The FBI trying to take control of the narrative. Look, all you have to do is call them and yell at them. Tell them, what are you doing? Trying to control this narrative and trying to tell me that my eyes, see, I am the real Homeland Security. So are you, and so is everybody else out there. They don't control anything. And I'm so sick of them trying to control the narrative.
Yeah.
This is bullcrap. We can solve this.
And not just the FBI, Napolitano saying, we'll tell you what to believe. We'll tell you when you have credible information because you'll get it from us.
And she's telling that to the congressman. Yeah, what it reminds me of is what they do when there's a disaster. And FEMA comes in and basically creates this incredible bottleneck and shuts down all efforts to aid people because they don't allow any local help to happen. And it's real interesting when I've seen disasters. If it's a large scale, they bring in FEMA and it basically shuts everything down. But a smaller scale disaster, people chip in. You've got the local police will keep people away from down power lines, and then churches and businesses will distribute food and clothing to each other. Things work when they don't get in the way and shut it down.
They're trying to break the normal human instinct to work together.
That's right.
That's why you turn into MSNBC. It's all race, religion, fight with each other, because they're globalists waging war on humans. I mean, you can see it right there. And again, the responsibility we've got right now, because I'm going to be able to go in there and tape, and then also, if you guys want to do the Nightly News Tonight live, I mean, I did the interview with the guy. They took his guns up by Temple, and I was going to do some of the show live. I'll be honest with you, I finally got some sleep last night, but I'm a little bit tired. This all just needs to keep getting covered. This crew's about to fall over.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we could just go over there, and then whenever we're ready, punch up maybe at 6, and then play the clips of Badandi and all this, because imagine, don't look at this. Don't look at anything but what we're showing you. I mean, I think that's a miscalculation, but look at the evidence of their control over mainstream media.
Oh, yeah.
That there's only Drudge, and that's getting brought up in Congress now, and there's us. And no one else is even there to, like, go, who are all these other people with backpacks all around? I was looking at Navy SEAL photos. I kept saying, like, 20 yards. It's more like 15 feet from the bomb, from the spot. I mean, they're right there, and they're looking at where the guy's at. I mean, they did this. And, of course, they don't want to be seen. They killed that little 8-year-old kid. And you know what? You want to show me that kid, make me be emotional, so I get my rights up? You know what? I am emotional, you murderers.
That's right.
I tell you, they're all in on it, man. You watch this, I'd say, oh, maybe they don't know. No, they're in on it. They're all in on it. Bunch of killers, man.
Yeah.
You know what? And you know what? There's still men left in the world, you bastards.
And there's Alex Jones. Thank you for your
What do you want to say to them? They're watching right now. Because I said today I was going to have a message to the New World Order. I didn't do it. What do you want to say to them, Jakari, out there watching? What do you want to say, David, both of you? I mean, the people that killed those people, it's nothing to them, a few dead, collateral damage. You know, we're not humans. They're watching right now.
Well, what you said is exactly right. We need to be concerned about the loss of life. And, you know, one of the things, I think, Dan getting in their face and getting this false flag stuff out there, I mean, I believe that they have repeatedly, and all of us here, we've looked at 9/11 and these other events, we believe that they've repeatedly staged mass murder attacks to forward a political agenda to get people, and we've got to stop that tactic from working. And the way you do that is get the information out there and tell people what they're doing. And people should get angry about this because, like Alex said, we want to follow this trail to wherever the murderers are.
Exactly.
Because there are some horrible people out there. We need to find out who these people really are.
And it reminds me, I've been talking about this lately. When Alex did an interview with Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, Billy said, Alex, you guys are great at information and dates and numbers, but the thing you don't really connect with people with is on emotion. And we talk about, you know, the bombs demand action and all this, and they're not going so much off of numbers. They're going over emotion. Where was I when I heard the Sandy Hook kids got killed? I was driving to my grandma's house, or I was making a sandwich for my husband, or whatever the case may be, and they drive off of emotion. And that's not a bad thing, but I mean, you have to have it focused in the right direction. When I see not just the kids killed at Sandy Hook, but when I see the people who died in this latest Boston bombing, and, you know, we say the number is relatively small, which it is relatively small, 3 people, but those were 3 people whose lives have been lost, and people whose lives have been changed because they've been injured physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Go back to September 11th, the event that they used to fundamentally alter society in our country. And think about the fact that they shut down the crime scene, that they shipped this evidence abroad, as we mentioned earlier tonight, that they obstructed justice, that they, have shut this down. Why aren't people more upset about that? Look at all the people that died, and look at how the government is setting on the evidence, obstructing the evidence, hiding and destroying the evidence. Why aren't people mad about that? Why aren't they pursuing the truth? You know, they call us truthers. I mean, what's the opposite of a truther? It's a liar.
Yeah.
Why aren't they upset with liars? Why are they upset with truthers?
Do we have that I'm as mad as hell clip? Do we have that? We don't? Okay. Well, we'll have to get that at some point. Maybe I have the movie. I might go home and get it. All right. Thank you for your call, Jim in Georgia. We're going to move quick. We only have about 10 minutes or so left. Let's go to Andrew in Illinois.
It's more looking about the Sandy Hook, which is a false flag.
Hold on, put him on hold.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Let's get Leanne McAdoo in here. Leanne, come on. No, Leanne, you get in here and make your point. Gray backpack, folks. She's right. It's not black. It's gray. Go ahead and tell people.
It's a gray backpack, right? I mean, can we see the footage?
Oh,
no, you're right. You're right.
Look,
I saw
here,
it.
You can look at
the
that.
The guy's got a gray backpack. Those were black backpacks. So this rabbit trail doesn't even fit the script.
Do we have some new information there?
No.
No,
this is War Room. Hey, we want to get a seat and come in here and there?
No, hold on. I'm going to say this because I've been telling her this all week, and David, you can attest to this. I told Leanne, if you don't come in here and just briefly do, just a quick report or just say something, Alex Jones is going to find you in the hall, drag you in here, and make you get on camera. Did I not? I've been saying that all week.
Okay, well, not.
Hold on, let's get her a chair.
Now you're in it. This is Leanne McAdoo, one of our new reporters here in the Infowars. She will be joining us for the next 10 minutes. Call in and have a question for Leanne ready. All right. So we'll move on now to Andrew in Illinois. Do you have a question for Leanne?
No, I don't. I just had a comment to check out that they were set up for the Sandy Hook a half hour before the shooting. They had refreshments. The federal people were already at the firehouse. There's a tape on YouTube showing it. I thought you'd like to know that.
I'm sorry. Did you get that, Jakari?
No, I'm sorry. We had a little technical difficulty. Can you repeat?
Leanne
Yeah, they were supposedly set up a half hour before the shooting.
Hold on, we got double plugs here. Where is this?
Refreshments and the federal
I'm sorry, Andrew. We're going to put you on hold. We have like 10 people talking in here at the same time.
Yeah. Hang on just 1 second.
Doesn't matter. It's live.
We're getting this is live, and we're getting Leanne hooked up here so she can hear your comments as well, so she can comment.
We're getting her in an X-wing.
Right now, she doesn't have any way to hear you, so we're
we're working through some technical difficulties,
and then we're going to get you to go back over what you just told us again. We wanted to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, this is important because when she said it, it clicked. The backpack's gray. It's not black. Explain. You got audio now?
Okay.
Can somebody help her with her earpiece? It's all sticking out.
She's got audio now.
Weird.
You're good.
Okay, you're good.
Okay. All right. We'll go back to Andrew in a second, but first, Leanne, make your point about the backpack.
So I was looking, they're playing the footage over and over and over again, and it just struck me that the backpack, it's gray. It doesn't match all of the photos of the backpacks they've been showing that are black, and they have just one gray stripe. This is a gray backpack.
You can see it right there if you're watching on Infowars.com.
They keep showing these backpacks that are
black or dark colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then not only that, but they say they have footage of him setting the backpack down.
Well, I already thought that.
Why aren't they playing?
I already thought that. Plus, the black backpack's not big enough for a pressure cooker. This is a total rabbit trail.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like it has anything in the backpack, and he's kind of swinging it around. I mean, if you had a bomb in your backpack, you would probably have the straps on. You wouldn't just be...
Nonchalantly, just like you didn't have a bomb in your backpack.
Great point.
Great point. Okay, now we'll go back to Andrew in Illinois and then try to get through the rest of these calls. Andrew, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make a mention of a YouTube that's out there now. It's titled Sandy Hook Conspiracy for Live Drill, Live Hoax. It shows pictures of them being set up a half hour before the event.
Who being set up?
With the refreshments, and the feds were there already. This guy witnessed it. It's on... You can find it. Look it up that way. It's a 4-minute video.
Give us the title again?
Yes.
Sandy Hook Conspiracy, from live drill to live hoax. Sandy Hook, only known eyewitness account.
Okay, we'll look at that. We're looking through some other things, but we'll definitely try to take a look at that.
Out. And also check out the Iroquois Gas Company buying up the land all around there as of 2009. The researcher found several of the homes vacant that were listed as witness homes.
Okay. We lost audio. I'm sorry, Andrew. Okay, thank you for your call.
Have a good one now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on now to Dave in Colorado.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I was watching that newscast. It reminded me of that police captain Vance from Sandy Hook, where no information should be taken unless it's from this official outlet, whatever it was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
good point.
I know you guys have gotten tons of pictures, but the SEALs or the security team, if you go to cryptome.org, CRYPTOME.org, go to the Boston Blast and bomb blast, and you scroll down about 21 pictures from there, you'll see them all gathered around an SUV with all sorts of high-tech antennas. I know you have a lot of calls coming in. I just wanted to get that in.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll try to check that out.
Yeah, it's all about sharing information. We all need to get anything you see, you need to let us know about it, let other people know about it.
Yeah, and we do take these calls seriously because the picture we have on Infowars.com of the guy getting his papers checked, that was a caller who called in on the radio show. So we do get to those when we can. Thank you for your call, sir. We'll move on now to Sam in California.
How's it going, fellas?
Very well.
What bothers me here is a little bit of what we're not talking about. It's the FBI gets up there and shows us two pictures of guys they need us to find. I mean, they've got all that money. They have facial rec. They have fusion centers. They've got DMV and passport photos. They've got cell tracking. They've got satellite tracking. Like, you're telling me they couldn't go back in real time with a satellite and follow these guys to their front door?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because when the guy asked, he said, what happened after the bombs went off? He said, we saw him walk down the street, and we never saw him again. I thought that was very suspicious, especially for somebody who has the resources of the FBI.
Yeah, did they wait this long to tell us that, and then they don't really know where these guys went or in their footage? They didn't know what time the guy had laid packages down. He says, maybe a couple of minutes. Did they have enough time to get away from them before the bombs went off, if they saw them put packages down? And they didn't show any pictures of them putting the backpacks down either.
Exactly.
Right. But honestly, even if there was cloud cover and the satellites weren't an option, we could upload their pictures to Facebook and probably facial rec them in under 2 minutes with social media. Like, it's such a con and nonsense. It's exasperating.
Yeah, it's like they want you to be involved. It's like, you know when you're a little kid and your dad's like, here, come push the lawnmower, and you can't even push it. He has to push it for you.
Well, didn't he say you're our eyes and ears? But then he doesn't want us to look at anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If they really need our help that bad, we needed to fund them completely now. We just do the job ourselves. And the other thing I wanted to say,
Go ahead.
the guy in the picture yesterday with the blue jacket, the red shirt on, he was blatantly the patsy they were setting up to be the NRA guy with the ammo. But if you look at the guy's face, there's a documentary called The Devil's Breath about scopolamine. The guy looked like a scopolamine victim, and it's actually the perfect drug for creating patsies. I'm sure they've got a hybridized, weaponized version of it that's even more efficient. But if you go watch that documentary, it explains every patsy that's ever committed a shooting or a bombing or any nonsense that's been a false flag attempt. This scopolamine is the perfect drug for that. So,
okay, thank you for your call, sir. We'll look into that, but we have to keep moving. Only about 5 minutes left. Do you have a comment, David?
I was just going to say, that drug is something they can basically blow into your face, and you'll follow any suggestion that anybody tells you. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Okay, so we have about 6 or 7 calls left. Make your point very quickly. We'll go to Tony in Arizona.
Hi, I just have a comment on the FBI pictures of the backpacks that were exploded. And they have those gray stripes on the straps, the shoulder straps, and that's exactly like the patsy guy with the blue shirt. And he's also holding that very low so that it wouldn't be really seen in pictures, and that it's heavy. He needed 2 hands to hold that up. So, I don't know, to me that one, those gray stripes just match exactly to the exploded pictures.
That's what you were saying, Leanne? Okay, thank you. Well, we have to keep moving. We only have about 4 minutes left, less than that. Julie in California.
Hi, yeah. I just want to let you guys know, I mean, probably last 2 or 3 nights, we've had, the helicopters flying all over the night. And I know they're military helicopters. I know the difference between, you know, the regular LAPD helicopters and whatnot, and they're flying all over the night. And I noticed the last 3 or 4 days, we've had nothing but police presence all around town. I mean, you can't go on a street.
What town are you in,
There is
Miss?
not a cop.
What town are you in?
I mean, it's all over. It's creepy almost.
Are you saying that you're in L.A.?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. You know, I'm in Northridge, but I'm in in LA City proper, and I mean it's all over. I mean you hear the choppers at night. You know they're military. You know they're not just LAPD helicopters, and you see the cops on the street. I mean
Yes, Miss, the thing to do about that is just grab your
place.
camera, go outside and film it, because Joe Biden and these other people are saying that's not happening. So prove them wrong, film it, and put it on YouTube. We have to move quick.
Oh, great,
Jason, I'm sorry, Miss. Jason in Tennessee, go ahead.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
I'll be real quick. I just wanted to make a comment. I was actually monitoring Hannity's show to see what they were having to say about everything when the news conference came on. And he said they're going to cover this thing in its entirety with no commercial breaks. And as soon as I started hearing Dan Batani's speech, they cut the commercial. They came right back about a minute later, and then I heard them talking again. They cut away, and for the rest of the time, there was nothing there but commercials. You didn't get to hear
Somebody put that on YouTube right now. Thank you for your call, so we have to move quick. Chris in Tennessee, Chris in Connecticut.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How's it going?
Yes, you have about 1 minute.
Yes, sir. I got 2 things to say really quick. One is I saw this uploaded video online, and it showed really graphic. It showed there was some gore on the aftermath of the Boston Marathon bombing, and as soon as
30 seconds. Go ahead.
One of the officers had walked by, and the gore was completely gone, covering some kind of metal object. And then secondly, I just saw 104.1 post up, and they were saying it's a mainstream it's a media broadcast, and they were saying anybody that knows the pictures of these updated FBI released photos, you could know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. It's just trying to cause social chaos. Anybody can point the finger at anybody. So who's the terrorist? Anybody could be a terrorist. A lookalike could be a terrorist. So they're just trying to cause division through the nation. I don't know. It's just
and fear. And fear. They're trying to